This broadcast is live, it says.
Well, hello. The trailer was so good that they played it twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Welcome, lads. Welcome to Set the Trend podcast. We're here. The boys are back, and we thought we'd do a special podcast this month. As it's lockdown, we thought we couldn't leave you alone. We thought we'd have to come back and we'd have to do a special for you today. This evening, and our special person that we've got in today, G Money, one of the founders of BASSLINE 97.9 FM, radio station from back in the day. That was one of the top radio stations back in the day. We're going to go throughout the history. We're going to talk to him about BBC One Extra. We're going to talk to him about Homeboys Radio, where he's right now and what he's getting on with. And it's going to be an interesting conversation. But before I go any further, let me introduce my fellow co-host, which I've missed a lot. I haven't seen him in a little while. And funny saying that, a lot of people haven't seen EastEnder in a little while. So EastEnder, how are you doing? Because we've been getting messages, you get me? And like, do you want to explain to your fans?
On the road to recovery. Yes, I caught the bug, the virus, COVID. Been in intensive care for 3 weeks. Now back at home, 4 weeks back at home on the recovery trail, on the mend, nearly there, not quite, but happy to be here.
Good. It's funny. Before we get into a little bit, I phoned him up and he was in there, and I go, "Oh, so you're not dead then?"
I'm glad you remember. That's the first thing you said. Yeah. And I said to you, "Don't make me laugh. I can't breathe." Yeah, I've got an oxygen. I've got a ventilator on my mouth, but I can't laugh.
You're back. Welcome. It's great to have you back, man. It's glad to see that you survived the dreaded bug.
Well, yes, I mean, it's funny because when you get intensive care for COVID, they say you either come out there dead or you come out there alive. So I'm just happy that I came out alive, and I could take this opportunity to thank everyone who's sent me some kind words and some prayers. Much appreciated. And I'm on the road to recovery. I'm alive and well.
And you're back. Good. Reggie.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Are you taking a mic? Are you taking a mic?
You can't get corona through the stream, can you?
With mates.
It's a big up. Listen, it's great to see EastEnder back, and well done on the road to recovery, man. And it's good to see you back as well, because some people sadly didn't. So, on a serious note, it's really
Who didn't? We was all worried about him.
Yeah.
So we've got a packed show today. I want to kick it off. I think I've got to kick it off with just having a little conversation, because everybody's having a conversation. Well, I have to have a conversation about Lovers Rock. Small acts, Steve McQueen, Courtney Newland. What do we think, Reggie?
What do I think?
What do you think? No sitting on the fence.
No, sitting on the fence. I understand Steve McQueen's take on the Lovers Rock scene and what he was trying to portray to the audience and to a wider audience, so to speak. That's why, if you notice, it was very minimal in dialogue. And when I say dialogue, as people saying things, stuff like that, I thought some of the accents were a bit dodgy. I didn't understand why they were going between the Jamaican accent and the the English side of things. So I'm not sure if we used to really. From people from the Jamaican community used to do that, or the Caribbean community used to do that at the parties, those particular parties in that age. But I think it was well shot. I think some things were a bit, need to be included in it, and a bit
like what? What should have been included? I
think the scene with the lady whose party was going out with the guy to the backyard. Was a bit kind of like, right, okay, I personally don't recall incidents like that happening in that way at any blues parties or house parties that I've been to. But I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but I think that part was a bit kind of like far-fetched and a bit too focused upon, personally, from my perspective. But yes, you can have that harassment side of it where the ladies getting harassed by a guy. Ladies have always had that, where there's a guy that they're not really interested in. But I thought it was a bit far-fetched from that perspective. I think it was well shot, and like I said, I understand with a creator's brain what he was trying to do.
Richie,
sitting on the fence.
I'm not sitting. What was he trying to? You understand what do you understand about it? What was he trying to do?
What he was trying to do with that is basically bring a new way of trying to get you watching it to feel exactly what the film intended and what it was supposed to do, which is to explain lovers and rockers, which is basically the lovers rock scene, people falling in love in a gig, and you getting that kind of like essence of being in a party. Obviously, it's so difficult because if you're not actually in somewhere, you can't experience it. But he did his best to try and bring that atmosphere to people, which is why I think some things were a bit overextended.
So, Reggie, did he need in context to include the rape scene? Did he need in context, being this was a thing, this was a documentary, a film about lovers rock. Did he need to bring in the lesbian scene in it?
Which one? Oh, the kiss.
The kiss, because I didn't know where that come from. So I was like, it's just thrown in. So, and I'm not saying that they couldn't have been included because, he's got artistic license. It's his, it's his film. He's directing it. He can bring in and put in and take out what he wants. And a lot of films do that. I'm just saying, in the context of it being lovers rock and what it was spilled as. Hold on, East. Do you think, Reggie, that he got it right then?
Not all of it, no, of course not.
Definitely I'm asking you specifically about those two scenes. Is that a yes or no?
In regards to the lesbian kiss, I don't know if there were lesbians in the 70s in the.
Well, there probably was, but there probably was, and there was probably people who went to parties up and down the country, white, black, Asian, whatever, that got raped at parties. I mean, that's a given.
Yeah, but let's take the first point which you wanted me to address, which is the lesbian kiss. No.
I don't want you to particularly address the lesbian. I just want to address the fact that did he need to include those scenes into the film? That's all I worry about.
Just now, I said I don't. When I first you first asked me, I said I didn't feel that part in regards to the girl getting taken out to the garden should have been included in it. That part shouldn't have been. Okay, the part of like, yes, be my love, and him trying to get into the toilet with her or whatever, that's fine. You can get away with that because that's just kind of like harassment. Women go through that quite a lot, from that perspective. But, if you're talking about that full-on scene when they're outside in the garden, I personally don't think that was part of the context of being in the lovers. But, you have to understand that it's very difficult to produce an hour and a half of programming about a one party, a house party. Because if you look at the set, apart from coming out of
Reggie, it's not difficult. Just write the story. Just write the story. The problem with
what have you produced ever that is an hour and a half of content of your rave that you can turn around and go, right, do you know what?
Steve McQueen is a top class producer, director. He knows how to write a script. He knows how to produce a film longer than 60 minutes, 90 minutes. He knows. He's got the skills. He's got the credentials to do it. What he produced on that night was very disappointing. So I don't, you can
Not all of it. Not all of it was disappointing, though. Was it, East? I can't say all of it was disappointing.
There were a lot of respected journalists.
I didn't come out of there. Look, I didn't come out of there thinking that was a good piece of work. There might have been good bits in it, but I'm judging the work from the whole work.
But I don't think that's the question. Hold on. But I don't think that's the question. I think, did you come out of it thinking you knew more about Lovers Rock than when
difficult. It's very difficult to ask me that question because I kind of know the Lovers Rock from an era and a time to date, and I know it very well. So I didn't learn it. Did the man in Aberdeen? Did the man in Middlesbrough? Did the man in Newcastle learn a lot about it? That might not know the London scene. Yeah, they did. But for Londoners, no. And I think that's why a lot of people are talking about it because we know the scene, we know the culture. Look, like the back of our hands, we know it. And we was all disappointed.
Anything to do with the black music scene that comes out and you put your head above the parapet in that way, where you're trying to find that balance of making something that is very true to form, but at the same time, it's prime time Sunday night BBC to try and get people to understand it.
And I know you're playing devil's advocate and you're trying to, but look, he made that program. It's part of the Black series. It wasn't for anybody else. It was for us. It was for the black culture, the black community.
It was black culture for everybody. Just get it straight.
Well, but
it was for everybody. But it was celebrating black culture.
Yeah, and that's why we're so critical about it because we know it. The one thing he did do what was good. Yeah, he got 1.2 million people to watch it.
Yeah,
the viewers, the ratings.
I'm a celeb. That was good.
Yeah, the ratings was good. So on that. I'll give him some credit for that.
Which was that guy who was on the microphone, sounded like as if he's been chanting from Ray's little red lyric book.
Reggie, some of the comments in Facebook while I just say something to East here. So East, if you was commissioning that, if you was the person who was commissioning that and that came onto your desk, and you saw the whole film, what would you have said to him specifically, Steve? Steve, mate.
I would have said, well, after or before? Sorry.
Before. So it's come on your desk. You're reviewing it. You're going through it, and you've got this little screening that happens, and you're seeing it, and you're thinking, and you're making your notes, and then you come to him, and then you turn to Steve, and you say, Steve, what would you have said to him?
I said, Steve, this is a fantastic project. We're going to do some research. Here's some names I need you to call and check the scene. Yeah. So, I would have called.
Do you know what? That's a good point because he had Dennis Bovell in there. Yeah. Exactly. But he didn't have anybody else from that Lovers Rock era.
Roy Medallion, the Lovers King. Santic Romantic, who's been there for 40 years. There's so many names we can call. So Lloyd, sounds like a dominant.
Yeah, as a cameo. As a cameo? Or just mentioned throughout or done something?
Well, that's just the research to get the first part right. As the cameo, I would have got Carol Thompson in there. I would have got Janet Kay in there. There's lots of people to choose from. Mm-hmm. The project is big. He had the whole goal at his feet and he still missed it.
Yeah, I do. I will say from that perspective,
isn't it? I would have got. There's lots of people to choose from. Mm-hmm. It's big. He had the whole his feedback at his feet, and he still missed it.
I don't know what's that going. Ooh,
I do. I will say from that perspective,
isn't it?
I think we're back to normal now. I don't know what that was. Go on, Reg.
Yeah.
Have you got any comments for me?
I'm just going to get him up now. Hold on 1 second. Apologies. That's what I've been trying to do for the last 2 seconds, actually. Prue says, but what if that research you mentioned wasn't the point that he wanted to archive? Cheryl Sterling says they were from Top Boy, the actors I think they were talking about. She's talking about there. Also, PD Cooley, he don't know them simple. Tracy Angel says, agree with EastEnder. And
but I wasn't casting aspirations on the people who were acting. I was, and that's what it seems like. I wasn't doing that. I mean, actors are actors and actresses, you know what I mean? But I think that he could have had guest appearances or just a little. I don't know. I just thought he could have celebrated the genre a bit more and give it more of an accolade than what it deserved. I didn't think it needed to be for the first time getting that national platform. And if you're looking at Lovers Rock, I don't think it needed to be on the back of or with a controversial rape scene. You know what I mean? Because I just didn't get why it was in there. Is the birthday girl. You know what I mean? She went back. She was quiet. I'm not sure that would have happened. You know what I mean? I just didn't get that, and I didn't think it added any flavor to it. What I would have liked and what I want to see, I've had this discussion with Nikki Slimting before, who's a director, and he wants to make a rom-com. Why can't we then just make a love story and just have none of the shooting or none of the rape scenes or something else, just a love story? Why can't we just have that? Why do we have to have that controversy in it? Why can't we just do that?
Well, what I do think is, I think Small Acts, the Lovers Rock, has opened the door for more types of Lovers Rock movies and documentaries to come out further down the line. That is, it's been a conversation starter. Everyone's talking about it. And I would just say, look, let's not hate, let's celebrate, and let's try and make a new one. Not me personally, there's people out there, let's try and make a new one that does do justice to the Lovers Rock scene.
And on that note, we'll leave it right there because we've got a packed show. Just going to do two things before we get our guest on, our esteemed guest on. Tell us about Jackie Davison, Reggie.
Yeah, well done to my old boss and the lady who mentored me in my career in the hard zone. Jackie Davison, she's just been, not only she MBE, but she's also been appointed as to the chair of the board for the PPL, which is the biggest music licensing collection society in the UK and maybe as part of the world as well. So congratulations to my...
Well done, Jackie. Well done, Jackie. And also, Def Jam UK's got news coming out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got their 0207 Def Jam label, which the twins who are just unstoppable. A lot of people probably don't know about them, which is Alex and Alec Boateng. They've been A&R people, the DJs on One Extra, respectively, and they were at one point kind of like head of A&R
Atlantic
Records, and another one was head of A&R marketing and was like president of Ireland. Sorry.
And who's the young girl? They got a young girl down there that's doing marketing.
EastEnder. They're all young compared to us.
Not that young, Sean. What's she? 28, 20, 30?
That's young, mate.
But he's obviously building a good team together and putting it together, and it's a great thing to happen. Obviously, being somebody who started the Def Jam street team officially here in the UK, and also worked a lot of Def Jam records back in the day. It's great to see that these guys are doing a label, and I think it's in good hands.
Is that Def Jam UK or is that Def Jam? What's their full operation?
7 Def Jam UK. So it's basically Def Jam UK, but with 0207 in the prefix. So it is.
And what is 0207?
That's the code in it for
telephone number 027
telephone
048 0207, like back in the day for you youngsters. Anyway, let's get on. Thank you for that, Reg. Right, Facebookers, if you could share the link in there, please continue your chat because we're going to go to some of your conversation. Reggie's going to keep an eye on it, and we're going to throw up some of your questions to our esteemed guests as well. Also, if you're on YouTube, we're available, which we're available on. Also, like and follow us on YouTube. Set the Trend Podcast on all socials. Right, we're here. Live one today. I wanted to get him in to actually be up close and personal, but this has been like a year and a half in the making. It was one of the ones that we had on our list to do from the beginning. Yeah, it's a very iconic station for the 90s, especially if you're a South Londoner. I don't think there's anybody who doesn't remember Hot 97.9 FM, Bassline FM. I don't think anybody will not remember the kind of characters and DJs that we had on the station. And I say we because I was a DJ on the station as well. It was, it was part of my growth as Fifth Avenue. And this station went on to set the trend in a few different ways, especially one, when it comes to being a platform for new DJs, and two, for breaking music, and three, for coming up with some different concepts, which we will talk about. And G Money is one of the founders of BASSLINE FM. He also went on to BBC One Extra, and he's also now in Kenya, fronting up Homeboys Radio. G Money, can you just step forward, my G?
Oh, let me turn my mic on. What's going on?
Yeah. What's going on, G Money? What you say, bro?
Oh man, bro, look at my eyes, man. My eyes are saying, "Oh, it's late, man."
What time is it in Kenya?
It's 21 past 11. But I had a gig earlier on, because we have the curfew over here because of the COVID restrictions. So the clubs start early, they close early. But then before that, I was recording my podcast, which is incidentally the biggest podcast in Kenya. So throw that in there. And also, I don't know. And waking up this morning to do the morning show as well. So it's just been a long day, man. But I'm here. I'm happy to be here.
Just before we start, and you was talking about the curfews and all that. How's COVID in Kenya?
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're on the mend, man. I didn't even know, but I tell you, it's affected, because even my brother had it as well. And I'm just staying safe, man. I worked at home for almost 8-9 months. Wow. Just recently went back to the office. It's not as bad as the UK in terms of numbers, but it's still bad. And obviously, we have a lot less facilities and a lot less capacity to handle a serious wave. But God bless, so far, the fatalities have been nowhere like what we've seen in Europe. So, I mean, I think at the moment we've had 1,400 deaths, which compared to what has happened in Europe, that's nothing. Yeah. But it's still every one of those people is still a person, and commiseration.
Cool. Thanks, G. I'm loving the accent.
Lost someone with COVID-19.
Yeah, I am.
Hold on a minute.
I'm loving that Jamaican, London, Kenyan accent twang that you've got.
The funny thing is, when I come to London, people say to me they hear like a Kenyan or an African. I can't hear it, bro. I think I sound the same. Like, I don't sound the same.
No. Wow. It's like saying that you used to, like you still look the same as when you used to wear click suits, but you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm not too far off, man. I'm still wearing polos.
G Money.
Definitely.
BASSLINE FM. Just run through a list of the DJs that you used to have on your roster.
Wow.
That have also gone on to other things. Yeah, me, Fifth Avenue, most definitely.
Fifth Avenue, Simple Simon, there was Get Rich, there was Reminisce, there was Mex, big up Dubplate Mex, still doing his thing, the Mix Kids, Jide from Knee Deep, TLC, Yardi and the Reminisce Gang, Spitter, obviously can't forget them, man, there. Freeze Crew, Company, JB Crew, Jesus, Curly B, Tom Brown. And don't forget William Tell.
Oh, Deep Clarity. Yeah, Deep Clarity. Yeah.
Deep Clarity. Yeah.
What about Play?
Play as well. Oh my goodness. Play, Glamzino. Fam, anybody who's anyone, man. They were everybody was there.
Even Reggie. You forgot Reggie.
Oh, yeah, Reggie, yeah. At some point, were you there at some point as well?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think I was after Peter Platinum Phillips, if I remember rightly.
Wow. Fam, wow. Legendary. I don't want to swear. Legendary stuff.
Gee, how did it? You was one of the three founders, I believe, at the time. Who did you start that radio station with?
Actually, there were 6 founders. There was me, Romantic Murphy, Patrick Crucial, big up PC. There was a guy called Bronx as well. There was my uncle Donovan Reds. There was Barry, a guy called Barry.
Yeah, remember Barry? Yeah,
remember Barry.
Oh yeah.
So how did that work? 5 of you.
So basically, what really happened? The funny thing is, so Barry's the reason why I actually came to South London, because my uncle lived in South. I was in Northwest, but I had the love for music. So my uncle hooked me up with Barry, and Barry had a sound system called Heatwave back in the day. Mm-hmm. So, typical thing, this kid from Jamaica, I had of records. So they used to let me play a little bit in the dance when the main selector was tired, or the 4 o'clock in the morning vibes, it's your time. So, but I always asked Barry, because Barry was the only person I knew in South, was how I want to go into a pirate station. And Barry, he knew everybody, because obviously he was he was big at Lambeth Council, so he knew everyone. And he introduced me to the guys of Power Jam, the guys of Elite at the time. Not Vibes. I didn't meet the Vibes guys, but pretty much I was just trying to get onto a station, and nobody gave me a spin. So when the opportunity came, he introduced me to PC, and PC at that point had already had BASSLINE with Dennis Rowe, and they were off air, and then they were going to go back on air. Yeah, we'll talk about Dennis Rowe. They were going to go back on air, and yeah, came together. It was just an amazing situation where everyone came together, and PC built the first rig that was humming. And I remember the first night we went live on air, and I remember
just
the first phone
rig?
call.
Just the first rig used to hum?
BASSLINE. So that was it. So we came together because Barry brought us together, and I was always the younger one, so it's like everybody around me was a bit older than me, so it's like I was just being brought along by and mentored by man them who had been out for a while, so yeah, that's how it came to being. And then of course 5 became 4, 4 became 3, 3 became 2, and then it was just left with me and PC, me and Romantic Murphy.
Okay, so what was your? And I'd just like to say before we go any further, big up Dubplate makes in the building.
Yes,
we forgot a couple of people.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Play.
No, we mentioned Play. We forgot a couple of people. Big up.
No, we mentioned Play.
No, RIP to Tubbs, because Tubbs was an integral.
Tubbs, yes. Oh my goodness.
BASSLINE FM.
Tubbs, RIP Tubbs.
Tubbs, and I think if he wasn't about, we wouldn't have had it as easy maybe as what we did have it.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you forgot Marky Mark.
Marky Mark. Oh, Marky Mark, Hyper. Oh my goodness. Mellow Primetime, Andy Long, Selector Steve. Jeez.
Anyway,
we had everybody, bro.
No female DJs at that time?
There was Lady Bubbles.
That's right. Did you have Pink Champagne on there?
God.
Was she one of yours?
Pink Champagne, wasn't she?
I can't remember. No, I can't remember.
Miss Diamond?
I really can't remember. So Miss Diamond.
I think
she was one of ours as well.
Yeah, but at a late, yeah.
So G, what was your concept for BASSLINE FM? Quickly, if you was to describe it to me in 4 sentences, what would you describe its output?
In 4 sentences, I would just say it was a sound of young South London, because everybody else who was running stations were older than us. So it's like,
so what stations? So what stations was around at the time? What was your competition?
The competition at the time was Power Jam.
What's the stations that you wanted to get on? Yes,
the stations that I wanted to get on. Irony. Yeah. Power Jam, Elite was there. Pablo and Garx, and then there was Lightning. But in those days, Lightning was on and off. Yeah. There was Genesis. Genesis. No. Genesis was Southeast London, so we didn't really think about them guys. Vibes FM.
I hope you ain't
Vibes FM, of course. I'm grown now. I can say whatever I like, bro.
No.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep it clean, No.
It's all good. I don't want nobody looking for me when I come to London for briefly. So yeah, there was Genesis as well.
Yeah.
But those were the main stations.
So you wanted to do what? So what was your output going to be? So how was you going to be different from them? What was your selling point?
We were different, and the difference was simple. end of the day, we did nothing that was normal. For example, Mixed Kids had a dancehall show on Sunday morning. When everybody else was playing gospel, we were playing hardcore dancehall. We had a music format. We were up front. We were new music. So we weren't, I mean, apart from the specialist shows, it was all about Curly Bees. It was all about new music. And even when I ended up doing the evening show, the basement, it was all about new music. It was all about hip hop. It was all about fresh flavors. Even your show on Saturday, Ray, was all about new music. So I think for us, we definitely were the new music station, and I don't think anybody can dispute that.
When I first knew Bassline, you was a station that came on for about 30 hours. You was a weekend station, but I think you did Friday night, Saturday night, summer Sunday, and then you went missing.
Yeah. So we came on Friday nights and went off on Sunday nights when we started. And then we added Monday. And on Monday, Dubplate Mike Mex had his jungle show alongside a guy called Skins, who was an MC. Yeah. Oh, there were so many. So yeah, it was Monday, then Tuesday, then we became whenever. Our biggest Achilles heel, and if looking back then, because none of us had money then, honestly, our Achilles heel was money.
Yeah, the rig money, man.
And the rig money, we didn't have it like some man. And obviously, we didn't have the business sense that we have now. So we didn't really have the acumen to run a business. So that was our Achilles heel. But when we were on, we were fire.
Gene, what's the official year that Bassline started?
Bassline started July 93.
Okay.
93, July 93.
And that was in that was in Herne Hill, yeah? That was Herne Hill, the first studio?
Yeah, it would have been Herne Hill. Yes, Herne Hill. That's right. Herne Hill? No. That was Tulse Hill.
Tulse Hill. Okay.
Yeah, a young lady's house.
Okay.
So originally it was a small roster of DJs because you was only on from about 10 o'clock. Was it 9 or 10 o'clock on Friday evening? So it was a small roster of DJs. So I think JB Crew was original. Tom Brown was original. You were there. Who else was there? Tubbs was original.
Tubbs was there because Tubbs worked for Lambeth as well. So him and Barry were friends.
Yeah. And Yardi came about. Was Yardi on it straight away?
No. Yardi wasn't on it straight away. So basically, it was Spitter and Wiley who were on it first.
Wiley Boom.
Spitter, Wiley, and they brought in Yardi. So then Yardi ended up doing the Monday night. How do I remember all of this? Wow.
Let's hope you remember a lot more. Right. So when you went from 3 days, because I remember that when I got introduced to the station by Yardi, because I didn't know it about Bassline FM at the time. Yeah, because I think you was really in your infancy, really.
Yes.
As much to say. So when I got introduced to Bassline, I know you didn't want to be going the extra days. I remember we said, well, why don't you go Monday? Why don't you do Tuesdays? Yeah. And I think you just clarified it in terms of the money. But what made you go longer? Because something happened why you went from 2.5 days to 7 days. So what was that difference?
You know what it was? Honestly, it's just that the demand for slots was so much. Like all of these young cats wanted a slot on the station, and also to compete from an advertising point of view, to get that little £50, that little £100. We were always hearing, you're only on 3 days a week, blah 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 blah. So I think eventually we added a day, and before you know it, we were at Wednesday, and it's like we might as well just be every day, innit?
So was the advert money coming in at that time for you to do that? Because typically a rig would have been still around about about £200 at that time. It was
in those days. A rig was like free. If you bought it from Roger, big up Roger. If you bought it from Roger, it was like between. Oh wait, so there was the white guy was Roger, and then this new black guy started to build him. A guy called Greg. Oh shit! Sorry. Yeah. So
it's podcast. It's like you can.
Yeah, you can do
so
that.
Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, it was about 300, 350 if you bought them from him. And then obviously in the early days, PC Romantic Murphy, he used to make our rigs in the early days. So yeah, he was the. Yeah. Anyway, let's not even talk about that. That guy, let me tell you something. PC Romantic Murphy is one of the most talented people in terms of his knowledge of electronics. Like he used to build transmitters, but his Achilles heel is that he was just lazy, innit? So, that's his Achilles heel. And I mean, I can say that confidently 20, 30 years later, and I feel nothing to say that, this is what it was.
So just before I go on to the next question, Smasherelli, Keith
Oh
Lawrence.
yeah, Smash.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Keith
I
Lawrence.
saw. Let me tell you, what's crazy about Smasherelli? Let me tell you Smasherelli's story.
And Smasherelli's who's DJ at the moment?
Steph London and also Red Free 2. And a couple other people, right? Let me tell you about and why I got so much love for Smash. Smash used to come into the record shop in Red Records when I used to work in Red Records. And he always used to be that kid in his school uniform at the counter. And he was always just saying like, yeah, I can DJ. And I was like, yeah, whatever.
That's what they used to say about you, G.
Yeah, exactly. So then he gave me like a mix.
Matchstick.
Bro. Matchstick as well.
Sorry.
Smasherelli gave me a mix. Bro, I was blown away, fam. Like, his skills were nuts. I gave him a show straight away.
I want to say, because there's a lot of love coming in for you via social media, and I'm sure Reggie's going to go through them in a short while. And but everyone who's sending the messages through Facebook, thank you.
Yeah,
just also, you forgot Natural B,
David E. Fly.
You also forgot
Galflex.
No, you did mention them.
Okay.
You also forgot to mention Big Wayne, DJ with no name.
David E. Fly. Yeah.
David E. Fly. No, you did mention them.
Okay.
You also forgot to mention Big Wayne, DJ with no name.
David E. Yeah.
Controller, if you can sort that out for us, please.
Yeah. Somebody's playing back the live streams. I need to kill that.
You also forgot to mention Big.
So yeah, somebody's playing back the live. We're back to normal now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many names, bro. Like so many names came through. Legends. Matchstick used to work for us in the record shop when I was at Black Dread record shop as well. And one thing about Matchstick is that he's just a guy who just lives music, bro. Like I low key thought he was like, this guy is he's like a nerd of music. And what I used to like about Matchstick was that you could have a conversation with him about music and it would never be a normal conversation. He loves music, loves music.
I think one thing about the baseline DJs and the ones that we just mentioned, I think they all love music so much that they all went on to do bigger and better things.
Yes, definitely.
So the passion. Oh, sorry, didn't hear that, Reg.
Baseline was a great launch platform, though.
Definitely.
DJs, yeah.
Definitely.
Gee, so what started it? I mean, there was a point then when you must have said, let's go for it, yeah? What was driving that? What drove that? What was the catalyst for? Because obviously there was big players in the game. You had to get past Power Jam, that was still going on. Vibes FM, probably the number one community station of all time. I don't care because they're still there now. They're still getting out.
Yeah, of course. Greatest.
So big up to Vibes FM. So you had to get past these guys. You had to get past who was in West London. It was Unique FM was on there. You had Keatley on Station FM doing things. So to claim that number one spot, which we did, I don't know how many times, but we did claim it.
Right.
What was the catalyst for starting on that journey?
Well, I think, fam, end of the day, yeah, we were all youths, innit? Like, we were all young. And at the end of the day, for me personally, my personal thing is that all I've ever wanted to do is radio. That's all I've ever wanted to do. I've never wanted to do anything else. Everything was added on. I can still remember, like, when I used to start going to events with you guys, and then I used to hear all of these names of DJs, Hyper ESQ, Fifth Avenue, Mel, all of these guys. And I used to be saying, yeah, so who's that guy over there? Who's that one? I was like starstruck because like that was not in my space. My space was just radio. And then, you go and then, Chris Finesse. How can we not forget Chris Finesse? Chris Finesse. Big up Chris Finesse. Sorry. You know?
Great
so
guy.
I was just a radio guy. So I ate, drank, and slept radio. I still do. And it's like, I think when I knew that we had something was when we started to do events. When we started to do events, and I mean, we'll go into that story there of when we started to do events. That's when I knew that there was a lot of love for the station, because what a lot of people don't know is that I didn't know anything about events. Like, I didn't care about events. I wasn't interested, but I had this radio station, and then we start, Ray and Yardi were doing events, Kiss and Tell promotions back in the day. So we struck like an unofficial partnership, and we started to do stuff together. And the love for the station was mad. Like, we used to throw parties, and it's like, you know, there's a time we even threw a party for the Bassline Cat.
Yeah.
Like, for the Bassline Cat.
No, G, the Bassline Puss. We're Jamaican.
Moggy.
The Bassline Puss.
The Bassline Puss, Moggy. Bro, I can see the flyer in my heart. And I remember we had a fluffy, it was Earl's Wine Bar, 400 people. To come and celebrate the birthday for the Bassline Cat that didn't exist.
Enough man weren't even getting them numbers in.
And on the flyer said, when this event is bigger than your birthday bash, we will see who is the real pussy. I remember that flyer in my head, because we were dissing everybody, bruv. Everyone.
Was that one of the underlying things that you guys wanted to do with Bassline, which was to prove that the formula and what you were doing was great?
Fam, it was nothing. It was Raymond's fault. Let me tell you, it was all Raymond's fault.
Wind up merchant.
So
yeah?
it was all Raymond's fault, because, as you all know, Raymond was at war with the whole of West London.
Whoa.
The whole of West London.
What do you mean he was at war with the whole of West London? Explain to us. What do you mean? Explain this.
Wait a minute. You lot have never spoken about this before?
No, we're waiting for his own personal podcast when we interview him.
Ray was at war with everyone, bruv. Everyone.
Before you tell us why he was in war, let's see if he wants to answer that one himself.
I wasn't in war with, I wasn't in war with everybody. What it was that, and some younger DJs have spoken on it before, and that's why it resonates so much with me. When you're doing things and some other people want to block you, and that's what the point was. Mandem was trying to block Fifth Avenue, and we got sidelined. We got taken off of certain things. We got people were talking certain things about us not playing with, like we played for kids. All kind of stuff was thrown at us. And so when they sidelined and blocked Fifth Avenue, at the time, Yardi came to me, as a fact, and it was Yardi's fault, actually. Yardi came to me, and he said, Ray, come and work with Bassline and we can do some things. I said, all right, cool. And then G will go on to explain the rest of the story, really. You know what I mean?
So when the warboat Ray came to Bassline, no. So basically, what he said is true. Basically, you know, Fifth Avenue, to me, in those days, Fifth Avenue was like, because I remember the very first, when I came back from Jamaica, the very first dance I ever went to was a Fifth Avenue dance in New Cross, right? So by the time Ray came to Bassline, I don't know what had happened with. Can I mention names because we're grown, right?
Yeah, why not? You're saying it,
right? So I don't. Ray, like, anyway, latest edition, Studio Express, all of them Northwest London sounds. Ray was on a blacklist, yeah. So when we a red list, red list. Yeah. So he wasn't getting no booking. So they had their little circuit, and then he was frozen out of it, innit? Because the venues, the big venues in those days, a lot of them were over in Northwest, Oxgate Lane, etc.
Yeah.
But so when we came, we combined so Ray was the experienced guy Then you had like the Reminisces, and then you had like, say, the Galflexes, myself, who were coming up, and we were hungry because we wanted to be where they were, where these guys were. And what happened is we created an alternative circuit. So before you knew it, in London, and this is no lie, before you knew it in London, you could have a big dance in Northwest London and a big dance in South London, and both dances were jam.
Yeah. But both dances, to be fair, had a different type of audience.
They did have a different type of audience because we considered ourselves a lot more new music than those guys.
Yeah.
So when you came to one of our raves, you're not hearing no Rare Groove till 3-4 o'clock in the morning. You could go to them man there and be hearing Glenn Jones round and round at 12 o'clock. You know what I mean? So
well, not at 12. We didn't start till 12. Your dances were
but you know what I'm trying to say. You're not trying to say.
But let's just make it clear because like late edition.
Defend it.
No, big up legs. No,
I'm part of late edition,
no.
so I've got a kind of like,
don't get me wrong. This was a long time ago. The war is now done. Because even me and Raymond had beef as well. Remember that? We're getting to that.
I think we're gonna get into that later on. Actually, that's one of the.
So the war is done. Remember, said me and Raymond fell out too. You know.
But that's what I'm saying. There was two different types of audience, and you created something that was there, but was nobody went in to get it, and you got it. You got that young audience and turned it into something phenomenal.
Do you think one of the keys about developing your audience was your selection of, like, I envisage you being the Arsene Wenger of Bassline FM, and your programming and your selection of DJs? Did you really think about that, or was it just
100%?
Let's come on,
fam. Listen, it wasn't. Like if you looked at the station had a sound. The station, and it's only now that I've studied radio, I knew that we had a sound. We had a tagline. We were all about the new music. We had identity. What happens on so many stations and why they never got to out? We were all singing from the same sheet. You get me? So when you think about it, I'm gonna try and be as upfront as Ray. Ray's gonna play on Saturday and he's gonna play 1 or 2 beats, and I'm gonna be like, yo, and I'm gonna try and go on my show, and we were all trying to outpoint each other.
Yep.
And that's what made the station the way it was. It was the wave. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like I remember there's a time when I remember the first time I went into to One Extra and I met some of the bigwigs there, and I was shocked how much they knew about Bassline.
Right.
Like proper. I was proper shocked. I was like, wow. Now I know.
Crispin Phillip. Crispin.
Yeah, man, big up Crispin.
He said to give you a big shout, and also Jerry Bascom said to give you a shout as well.
Big up Jerry. Big up Jerry, because Jerry used to let me go on his show on Choice and mix back in the day. So big up Jerry, man.
So I've got a quote from The Guardian here talking exactly to what you said in regards to building the station and programming and finding the DJs. You were quoted in The Guardian newspaper saying, there is always going to be a kid in his bedroom in East London who has made a CD and gives it to his mate to play that night. There is less of a gap between the street and mainstream than there was, but there's still a gap. And also you got another quote that says, a lot of structure has gone. We had our own rules that everyone adhered to. So I take it that's something in regards to the philosophy of Bassline that made it so successful.
Yeah, man, my quotes sound good 20 years down the line, though. But it came from the heart, speaking the truth, living your truth. You know, that is I just said it as it is. Like I came back to London like maybe 3-4 years after coming to live in Kenya, and I was I don't say disgusted, but I was blown away by how mediocre a lot of the new stations were. And I mean,
what's wrong with them?
No, hold on. Before we get there, we still come back, real back. So what I want to know, and we're going to get there, G, we're going to get there. Part of your success also, which we haven't touched on yet, was you became Sony Sony street team DJs? I don't know, because you tapped into the record companies, especially Sony.
Yeah, because of Semtex.
Yeah, and tell us about your relationship with Semtex that you had there, and some of the artists and some of the things that happened because of that relationship for Bassline, not for G Money, for just for Bassline.
Well, let me tell you the craziest thing. I was talking to Semtex yesterday, actually, or day before yesterday. We spoke for like 2 hours. Sem has been pivotal in my life, without a doubt. Like, I will always reference Semtex as being one of the people who put me on. And when I say put me on, not put me on in the sense of like getting me into the game, but teaching me how to go to that next level. You get me? Because when Semtex came to London, remember, Semtex came from Manchester. But he came from Manchester with purpose. And he linked up with the people he needed. And that doesn't happen by accident.
Yeah.
He watched the scene. Yeah. So when he came in,
he was our rep in Manchester, like for the mixtapes and
right. So when he came in, he hooked up, he caught up with the people who he needed to, whether on the Pirates or whatever. So for me, Semtex is the first person. I mean, I remember Hard Zone. We used to go to Hard Zone, Reggie, when you were there. But I remember, but I remember Sem was the first person to ever let me go into like a record label. And I remember going into Sony and going up into Sony and seeing all of this music all over the place, CDs on every desk, and seeing people who are not like me pushing black music, you know. And I remember how
Steve Ripley
he taught the other guy, the Indian guy, whatever his name was, can't remember his name was, Niven, and all of them. Yeah, so it's like, so for me and Bassline, Semtex gave me access to exclusives. And Reggie, don't use me to fight your battles. If you want to call out man, call out man. We're grown. We're grown, fam.
What are you talking about?
Anyway, carry on.
So
No.
you see how he's sneaking, Niven. Like, I see you.
He said
Anyway,
who's the Asian guy there? And I said Niven. Niven's cool, me.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, so that was it. So Semtex, like, you know, get as a pirate, as a guy running a pirate station, he gave us access into those labels, and yeah, and as a friend, he's always telling me to think one step ahead, you know, think bigger, do better, and yeah. So big up Sem, man. Every time.
How did the other radio stations around at the time perceive what you because you created a chart show on Bassline, and 9 times out of 10 your top your number one record was a Sony record.
Payola.
Bruh, let me tell you, I have never accepted money to play a song. But I will say I have taken money for a power play. If you're in pirate radio, you know there were power plays. And power plays was like when you leave the record in the studio and every DJ is supposed to play it.
But gee, sometimes you don't need to take the money, you know. You get a hot gig and you get paid by getting the hot gig. Or sometimes you get a TV.
Do you know what? And you're doing what you guys did to me all these years.
Yeah, well,
why could it not be that I liked that song? You know what? I got a bone to pick with all of you lot, you know, but we'll get there.
It's only 54 minutes.
We'll get there.
None of you. Let me tell you.
One by one. We got plenty of time, G.
No, not he's staying not with you though. You've always been cool. Not with Reggie either. Not even with Ray, but
okay, cool. Later. G. Tell us the kind of artists, because that was another vehicle of promoting the station. So we was getting some of the freshest artists, some of the freshest interviews with the artists. So sometimes they came to the station, sometimes we went to them.
Yeah.
Tell us some of the artists that we was getting before any other station. in London.
Fam.
Community station.
Come on, Lauryn Hill, Jagged Edge, Wyclef, who else was there? All of them, all of the Sony rosters.
Hold on. Don't you remember the big interview that everybody wanted, but you gave it to Get Rich Crew?
Which one was that?
Biggie Smalls.
No.
Remind me, I've forgotten that one. Who was that?
Destiny's Child.
Oh,
but yeah, I did them too. But yeah.
Boy.
No, but you see, Get Rich Crew were in that space now because they were now giving us a different audience as well. Because they weren't there originally. Remember, like Sponge and Mega and Sean, they were coming. They were not like Damu. I'm speaking Swahili. They were not with us from the start, right? So they were like Battersea youths, you know, like that side of the world. So they were a bit, but them and Mex were mad cool. You know what I mean? So, but it was just spreading it around.
And they also went on to start up their own community station, which was Delight FM, wasn't it?
Yeah.
One of your interviewers on your station was a guy called Peter Platinum Phillips. Now, I think I don't know if he should be here as a guest to come on and reminisce.
All the way from Canada?
All the way from Toronto, Canada. Peter
Platinum Phillips!
Peter Platinum Phillips. Wagwan, brother.
Yes, you know what? You know, this is such an important discussion. I wanted to say thank you to Reggie, Ray, and Ethan. I'm so happy that you're alive and well, sir. And G Money, of course. You know, I met G Money like over, I'm going to say about 25, 30 years ago. Do you remember when we actually met? I met you. I met you in radio college.
Yes.
We were attending radio.
Yes.
We didn't know who it was. Yeah, I was on BASSLINE at the time. So that was maybe like 30 years ago. And I think when I mentioned who I was and the station I was DJing on at the time, which was Power Jam, you said, "Oh my God, you're Peter Phillips or Peter Platinum Phillips."
Right. Wow.
Do you remember?
No, but I remember, and I remember No. I remember. No, come on, guys.
I don't think he remembers. He doesn't remember.
Can I talk for myself? Please?
Yeah, go for it.
I remember because remember we
sounds like I'm lying.
No, we went to the radio, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what I said. I said to you, "You're too good for that station."
That's right.
Isn't that what I said to you?
Wow, you remember?
That's what I said to you.
Yes, you did.
I said to you, "You're too good to that station."
But G, what you meant by
I left
that?
Immediately.
What? But G,
I came to BASSLINE. That's like I was tapping him up like in football. I was like, "You're too good for that station."
what I want to say. What I want to say. Peter Platinum Phillips, welcome to Set the Trend. And
thank you.
As a BASSLINE presenter, he wasn't a DJ; he was a presenter.
He was definitely.
Yes.
Oh
my God! You get a salute, sir. I was definitely not a DJ. I was probably the only presenter on the station.
And your show was an example to, you know, many didn't pick it up, which they should have, but it was such a thing that an example for anybody who wanted to be a DJ show presenter. They should have studied you, listened to you, and learned.
Jeff, thank you very much. That is so true. You know what? I've been wrestling with that from day one, but I was never a DJ. I never went out to the clubs. I just did my thing on radio, and that was it. But I had many conversations with G. I remember when G came to me, and he said, we're going to change everything. We're going to put all the street sounds on the radio. What do you think? Do you remember when we had that convo, G?
It's crazy.
And I said, and I remember this. I remember this moment when you came to me and you said, "Pete, what do you think?" And I said, "This is an amazing idea." And we talked about how BASSLINE encapsulated and dominated the airwaves back then. And the one thing that many radio stations don't have right now is that we actually created the brand. Every presenter, DJ, street sound that was on BASSLINE believed in the brand. And that's what it was about. These days, I think DJs just DJ on stations and they just think about their own coins, doing their own thing. We actually believed in the DNA of the radio station. And of course, back then in 1995, I remember when I was DJing in one of our dodgy studios in Loughborough Junction in Brixton. And I was like, I've been in tech for the last 35 years. I'm still in tech right now. And I remember when I said, you know what? We're going to change the game completely. I came up into the studio back in 95 with a laptop. And with a laptop. And I was definitely one of the first, if only.
Can I say, right? You were the first DJ I ever saw playing MP3s. Like, you were the first person to tell me about LimeWire and all of these things. And I remember, and I remember you used to have a show on a Sunday, and I remember listening to your show, and you used to be playing so much new music. So, like, you would play, like, say for example, Ray would play something on Saturday night, and then you'd play it on Sunday. And then when I'm calling all the record shops, they're like, boy, you missed the promo, you know? You have to call back and like, so where are you getting it from? He's like, I downloaded it.
But you know, the craziest thing is, I actually remember that incident when I was up in the studio. I can't remember whose flat that we were broadcasting from in Brixton. But I remember, but I had this IBM laptop and I had Winamp. PC DJ did not exist. I had Winamp, and I literally had to fill the gap by playing one song and then talking to bridge that next song that I play in. Well, guess what? On that particular Sunday, G Money jumped out his bed and came to the studio and said, how the hell are you playing this music? And I just said, G, I'm playing it from the laptop. This will be the future. I guarantee you. And I remember so poignantly, so many DJs were contacting me and saying that will never take off. That's a fad. And I just said to him, you're crazy. This is going to be the future.
I believed.
Bro, let me give you a joke. Let me give you a joke. I remember when I was at One Extra, right? And shout going out to Wilbur Wilberforce, who was the editor, the top man at the time, right? He bought Serato for the station, and it was in the prep room in the studio where we practiced, right? Fam, I remember playing on Serato once and in at One Extra, and I'm like, this is a joke thing. Fam, I came to Kenya with my bag of CDs. Bro, man in Kenya was on Serato, bruv. And I'm supposed to be some hotshot DJ from the UK. And I go into a dance with my bag of CDs, and these DJs are looking at me like, you're from the UK and you're using CDs.
Right.
Funny.
Nah, man, the future.
Because I used to go after Pete in the mornings. He used to have a fantastic show on bass. I think it was Sunday. Was it Sunday morning?
Yeah,
Sunday morning. Yeah.
And I was, to be fair, the person who got me into laptop was Terry Don. I remember.
Big up Terry.
Terry. Yeah, he was always up front.
And virtual DJ. So I was introduced via that. But Pete was an amazing presenter, amazing interviewer. And you know what? The reason I always used to call Pete to do interviews all the time.
Yes. Thank you. And you know what, G, you mentioned Semtex earlier. I got to salute Semtex, man, because if it wasn't for you and Semtex, I would never have had the opportunity to interview so many artists. I remember when I was working in the heart of the city, just behind Sony Records, I would get a phone call from Semtex, and he would say, I got an interview for you. I need you here in 10 minutes. And there was no time for prep. And I've got hundreds of interviews up on SoundCloud under Platinum Phillips. Semtex would call me and say, you need to be here right now. And I would just go there. I would literally jot down maybe about 10 questions, and I would freelance the rest. And the most important thing when you're interviewing an artist is to make them feel comfortable. And I remember interviewing Akon, and I came in my suit. So he thought, because I was coming from work, he thought I was sort of like going to be like a record exec or whatever. But he said it was the most relaxing interview ever. So I got to salute you and Semtex, because if it wasn't for you two, I would never have had that opportunity. And that's the BASSLINE brand that was embedded in me, that made me feel comfortable doing those interviews, right? So we were definitely innovators back in the day. And if anyone who's running a radio station right now, they've got to believe in the brand. Every presenter, from management
believe in
to
the brand.
DJs, they got to believe in the brand, right?
Well,
if they're out for it for themselves, it ain't going to work.
I mean, what I didn't understand, and we're gonna touch that a little bit later on. When One Extra started, I was very surprised that Peter, you never got a call.
I'm not a street DJ. That's the thing.
No, but
DJ.
One Extra wasn't a street DJ. Yeah,
true.
And One Extra was looking for, I presume One Extra didn't want street DJs. They wanted,
because they only took G Money.
They wanted presenters. G wasn't a bad presenter. G wasn't a bad presenter, but Peter was top of the grade.
Wow, thank you.
And Semtex used to call him for his interviews.
Yeah, I know.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it, right? Because
let's talk about that.
I applied.
No, let's talk about it now.
No, EastEnder, when I get to England this next year, I'm buying you a bottle of champagne. In actual fact, I'm doing better than that. When you come to Canada, I'm buying you a bottle of champagne. Right?
I'm not trying to cause any trouble with anyone. I'm just speaking how it should be. Yeah, he was a presenter, the best one on Baseline.
Wicked.
Wow.
He took.
Hang on. I gotta take a drink.
They took D money. Yeah. But they didn't take, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have taken you, G.
G dressed better than me. That's what it was.
Okay.
I just want to know why they didn't take Peter Platinum.
Tell me. G will tell you.
Fam.
No, but I'm asking you, Pete.
Let me tell you.
I don't speak street enough. That's what it is.
No, but they weren't looking for street. They were looking for presenters.
I haven't got a cockney. I haven't got the. I can bust Patwa. I can. You know what I mean?
Dude, let me tell you.
We're going to talk about One Extra a little bit later on.
No, but EastEnder, I think you've touched upon a valid point, right? And I think G was very connected, and I think he.
Payola.
No.
Well, you know what? Funnily enough.
No, hold on. You know one thing? Can I say one thing? I never used to go out raving. And I remember when Bassline held their first two at Le Fez. This is a true story. And I went out one day for the first time to Le Fez in New Cross, I think it was, right?
Listen.
And I remember all the Bassline DJs going, bloody hell, Platinum's actually coming out raving. So I was never a part of the social circuit. And I think that kind of, people sort of like knew I was a working guy. So people thought, Pete's corporate, he's never going to get into this game. I was on the outside, mate, from day one. It's the truth.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Can I, as the person who went to One Extra, can I talk now?
G, only if we're going to be starting to talk about One Extra stuff, because there's some other One Extra stuff.
No, because this is something
I'm sweating,
I need to address.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you how I felt when I went to One Extra.
Tell the truth.
Let me tell you how I felt.
Yeah, but hold on. Just to get a bit of clarity on this point. Hold on. Hold on. Because viewers might be listening, but they might not get it. So what we're going to discuss at this point is why out of BBC One Extra there was many DJs on Bassline FM, many DJs, and the only one that got the hookup was G Money. So that's what he's going to explain to us right now.
So let me ask you a question. No,
we want answers. G.
I'm going to ask. No, I'm going to ask. Do you guys
answer the question?
No. I'm going to answer the question.
Order.
Do you guys rate me as a radio presenter?
Yeah. I do.
Yes.
What type of questions that? You know the answer.
I'm asking you.
Okay.
Right, Peter, where did we meet?
We met in radio school. We met at Vauxhall Radio School.
Okay, cool. Radio school. Yeah?
Yes.
Can we just pause?
All these years? No.
Hold on.
Let me talk.
Hold on. I'm the presenter. I just like to say the radio school that you lot are talking about is not Vauxhall. It wasn't at that time. I think it was Lambeth College, and that's where I worked, and that's where I started to you. And
he's right.
Spitter Ranks was also.
Yes, I remember Spitter was there.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So can I talk now?
I stand corrected.
Can I talk now?
Yeah, cool.
all of these years, you guys have always acted like I got into one extra because I got a bring in, which I find
Order. Go on, G. Order.
You guys.
No.
Order.
It's disrespectful.
Hang on. All right, so stop there before you go further. You guys.
No, he has a point. He does have a point.
It's this. No. Wait. No, let me talk. I ran one of the hottest pirate stations. I programmed the station. Why wouldn't I be chosen?
It's true.
No one said you should not have been chosen. No one said that.
You have to give
what I said. I said. And if you're referring that to me, just what I said. Yeah, I said you went to one extra. I was very surprised they didn't take Peter Platinum Phillips because he was a good presenter. I didn't say anything that you wasn't.
But listen,
that's a good point.
No. So no, I didn't say you wasn't. So when you say you guys, yeah, don't say
you
me.
Guys. You guys, all of you lot, all of you guys,
order.
All of you lot.
EastEnder has a point.
G,
I think EastEnder has a point.
What he's trying to say is this, okay? He's trying to say, G, why didn't you say, by the way, we got this great presenter called Peter Platinum Phillips. I really want him to come into one extra because he will definitely bring to the station.
People said that I sounded like a. People said that I sounded like Tim Westwood.
No, again, that's not what I'm saying. Yeah.
Wait, stop. Can I talk?
No, because it's my turn.
Can I address Reggie? First of all, let me address Reggie.
No.
First of all, let me address that. Let me address it. First of all, that's the problem with people. That's the problem.
What's the problem?
So wait a minute. The problem is, I get onto one extra, right? I go onto one extra.
Sorry.
Yeah. And before I do my first show, I'm supposed to turn around before I even know the lay of the land and say, oh, by the way, I've got this guy, that guy. It doesn't work like that. That's not how corporate life works.
No, you're 100% right.
That's not how it works.
Well, at least you're being honest.
No, but G, Reggie said that. That's not what I said.
What did you say?
I never said that. I told you what I said. You heard what I said. I'm surprised Semtex, well, not Semtex, sorry, one extra. One extra. No, what I said was, come on. What I said was, right? I said that Peter Platinum said that. Peter Platinum said that Semtex was calling him for the interviews, all the good interviews. And what I said was, I'm surprised he didn't call him for a one extra show. No, not him. Okay. One extra.
Well, let me say something. Yeah.
So I never said you.
Let me say something. Let me say something.
G, hang on. Don't say okay. Take it back.
Let me talk.
No.
Let me talk.
You said I never rated you. I never said that.
Okay, hold on.
Listen.
Listen.
Can I talk? Can I speak?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
I have spent my entire life trying to be the best that I can be. I've carried. Wait, no, let me talk. Because you lot have pissed me off. Let me talk. Let me talk. Can I talk? Can I talk? Yeah? I've spent my whole life trying to be the best that I can be in the career that I have chosen. I've opened doors for so many people. And it's disrespectful for you to come on here and say to me, I got onto one extra and didn't open doors. That is disrespectful.
Who said that?
Okay, hold on, though, G. We know you did your thing.
This ain't 20 years ago. Hold on.
Hold on. We know you did your thing.
No.
But I think here's the thing, G. I think you did your thing. We both love radio. That's the thing. We know. Okay, yes, we know. We both love radio like the air we breathe. Right, that's the truth. I think what EastEnder is saying, was there opportunities to bring anybody else in?
No, I didn't say that. That's not what I said.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry.
For those of you who were on Baseline, who brought you in?
G, but no one said you didn't bring anybody in. That was the first part of the conversation.
So what's the problem?
No, there's no problem with you. No one said there's a problem with you. I said I'm surprised that Peter Platinum Phillips wasn't brought onto One Extra. That's all I said.
And
Why
that's
not?
a conversation
No,
that
but
has
see,
nothing to do with me, as I did not run the station. So if you have, if
That's fair
20,
enough.
no, let me talk. If
That's-
20 years later, people are worried about One Extra, fam, guys have owned stations since then. If guys are still worried about it, I'm sorry. And I'm humbly apologize that y'all didn't get your break, but I'm nice.
but
No.
see,
So hold on,
G,
hold on,
what's your opinion?
hold on. No, I actually run the show. No. I think G's actually said his point, and we can move on from that. Otherwise, we'll be here for years.
No, but you got to
I think
clarify.
we're gonna move on. He did clarify it. I felt that I heard him clarify
And a lot of
that.
people agree with him.
Okay.
Actually.
So let's leave that there, and let's just move it on. Thank you very much.
A lot of people agree.
Anyway, G.
Wagwan.
So tell us about some of the dances that you did back in the day as Bassline FM.
I can talk about the one that you got pissed off about. That one.
Why is it me? No. Let's talk about that. Go on.
So we did loads of them. We did When the Clock Strike, which was one of the biggest New Year's Eve.
Do you remember that dance?
I remember it completely.
Yeah,
we did loads of stuff at Le Fez, loads of events at Le Fez, Acapulco's as well. I mean, there was a time when you guys did my birthday bash and I couldn't even get in, which was legendary. We brought TQ to that event back in the day, if you remember.
Yeah.
Loads of events. Man. We did so many.
What was the most iconic event for you? What was the event that really sticks out for you as something you feel very proud about?
Two events. Obviously, when the clock strikes was crazy because I think collectively we pulled the biggest number ever on New Year's Eve because we kind of booked everybody and nobody knew what we were doing, and we booked everyone exclusively, and everyone was like, "Well, if you're gonna be exclusive, I want this amount of money." And we were like, "Yeah, you can have it."
We didn't book everybody.
We did book everybody. But not the guys who you didn't like or the guys who didn't like you, but everyone who was available, right? Yeah.
The B team.
That was one.
The B team.
The other guys, yeah. But do you know what was my favorite ever baseline event, baseline kiss and tell, whatever you want to call it, was the first Jam Promotions trip to somewhere.
Nottingham.
Yes.
Nottingham.
Was it Nottingham?
Was it Nottingham?
And I remember that Chris Sweeney and all of them West London guys did something on the same day to try and flop us.
Jam Promotions. That was with Jam Promotions, Jenny.
Yeah, so they had, I don't know, they had some beef as usual, and they tried to flop, but we killed it, that one. And not only did we have numbers because we had so many coaches, but also the quality of the event because we had EZ on that. If you remember.
Yeah, remember, we also had rest in peace DJ Skins because the Boogie Bunch was on that one as well.
Yep.
That was a good one.
That was a crazy dance. That was a crazy event.
It was.
Yeah, that was a good event.
No, DJ Swing,
But some of the birthday bashes, but end of the day, I mean, I don't, not to single anyone out, but I mean, I've been in events with you guys when Hollywood's been on the mic, and man, it's almost been spiritual, you know what I mean? So those for me are some of the best memories, and the fact that we built that alternative scene, and that was some of the best memories.
Do you know what?
Hold on, Peter. What was your most iconic event? Or was it just the one that you came out to? Was it just the one that you came to?
Do you know what? I think it's Ray. That's such an important question for me. I think like Bassline was at the top of its game when we had Bar HQ. I had the best times ever at Bar HQ, right?
That was TLC, right? TLC down
there. That's right. When TLC used to lock that place down, and when we used to charge like £25 to get in, drink whatever you wanted, I think Bassline killed that event. We used to jam it out on London Road up in Croydon. The thing is, the DJs all came together, and once again, I think that's missing these days. But talking about like COVID and the lockdown situation we're in now, can you imagine when this is all over? Any street sound, DJ, radio station, let me tell you something. You better be on your game because there's going to be a lot of revenue to make, and you've got to reinvent yourself and come even better than what you are right now. Because when this is all done and dusted, people are going to want to come out and party, and you're going to up your game. So Baseline did that, right? And I got to salute G and everyone who was involved in that, because I think that planning and branding, you don't have it these days. I just don't see it.
Not for
right?
community
And, and it actually comes from one person and filters down. And at the end of the day, people got to salute you, right? That came from G. It filtered down to all of us. We all believed in it. So, you know,
Okay.
I'm just glad I was a part of it. So yeah, Bar HQ back in the day, that was the place.
Thanks, Peter. Peter, we got to let you go now because we got to
Yes.
get more personal
No worries.
with G Money.
No problem.
Thank you,
Listen,
Peter. And it's nice
I
to see
really
you,
appreciate
mate.
it.
Peter, good to
Yeah,
see you, bro.
definitely.
Yeah, man.
Same to
Bless
you,
up.
man. And let me just say, you know, I'm on the radio still. You can check me out on tsolradio.com with my colleague Reggie. You know, I've been doing that since 2010 right here in Canada,
Man.
the soul of Toronto, and also FAQ Toronto podcast. That's how we're rolling over here in North America. So, G, I'm coming to Kenya. Listen, man,
Yes,
salute
welcome,
to
bro.
you.
Welcome.
We both eat radio, and if it wasn't for you, there would be no Peter Platinum Phillips. How about that?
Yeah, and next time you see
That's
Drake,
why. That's why I got the job.
There you go. There you go. And,
Thanks,
and that's the
Peter.
truth. And that's the true
Take care.
story. That's the true
Take
story.
care,
All right,
brother.
guys. Take
Nice.
Bless
Thanks,
up.
Peter. Cool.
Cool.
So, G, we're talking about promotion, merchandise. Baseline had its own merchandising back in the day, didn't it?
Yeah, we had record bags, jackets, all of that good stuff. That was done in conjunction with a guy called Roy, who unfortunately committed suicide at some point. I can't remember. He used to have a brand in Herne Hill, a little shop. He used to be like in Jungle and stuff. And he sat us down one day and said, "You know what? You guys need to make jackets and bags," and we sold a few of them. But in terms of how it made the station look and the DJs look, it was really, really a good branding thing. Because branding is everything. Like even, you know, we didn't know it then, but branding, that's what we were doing, you know?
What did the other radio stations think of you when we knew that Baseline was at the top? What did the other radio stations think of you at that time? What was the feeling like? How did they now?
Well,
How did they now look at you from someone who came up, as I said, from about 25 hours of radio to 7 days a week to now being at the top of the game? What was your relationship with these guys now?
I was cool with everyone. I mean, I was cool with Trevor from Power Jam. I was cool with Vibes. Special shout going out to Mikey Coos. Mikey Coos and Keatley were the ones who actually showed me probably the most love. My relationship, I was cool with everyone, you know. And at the end of the day, I had the unique position of being someone who was from Northwest London, who was operating in South, you know. So I was cool with everyone. That's always been my thing, you know.
It wasn't really where you came from, G. I think it was more the fact that, you know, you was a nice, humble man, calm. You wasn't aggressive, you know.
I'm still humble.
Yeah, I'm not. You see, you're going there again. I never said you wasn't. I'm just saying that you was a nice, humble man, and you was easy to get on with a lot of people. I think that was part of the reason why, you know, and maybe, you know, they liked you. They didn't see you as a threat, and they wanted you to be part of that radio family. So
There was I wouldn't go so far as say there was a radio family. I mean, end of the day, nobody accepts anybody. It's always, whenever it comes to any relationship in life, is what can you do for me and what can I do for you? You know what I'm trying to say?
But you and Keithley had a great relationship. TJ Keithley.
Yeah, me and Keithley were cool. And I haven't spoken to for many, many years, but me and Keithley have always been cool. I remember, you know, Keithley's one of those people who, I remember there's a time my grandmother was in London before she passed away, and we'd gone to see Keithley, and, you know, Keithley's the person who's always like, "Yo, how's grandma?" So me and Keithley's always, and it's just unfortunate over the years I've never really, you know, kept up that friendship, and I should actually give him a call one of these days, to be honest. You know what I mean?
So there's a couple of things that I want to ask you for, because I want to get to your life after Baseline. But before I get there, I want to ask you about a couple of things. Transmitters. Tell us about your transmitters. How did you used to embed them? at the time. So how did you used to hide them? Because I think a lot of people don't understand when you go up on top of a flat, you know what I mean, high rise flats. How did you hide your transmitter at the time? So how would you do it?
So what they used to do, I mean, like the jungle stations and the house stations and the garage stations, those guys used to go to some crazy extent. They would like go down into like the lift shaft and cement this thing into the lift and make it crazy so that whenever DTI would go to hit them, they would just take their aerials. But fam, we didn't have that level of concern. So pretty much that dedication.
Yeah, hold on. And we won't mention no names. We had insiders at the time in Lambeth Council. Yeah,
we did.
Well, I think it's a bit hard because you've already mentioned them at the beginning.
Why would you?
We had keys to every roof.
It wasn't even them. And anyway, yeah, so I remember a time, that the DTI came down after they took the rig and gave it to one of our DJs. You remember that time, G? They gave the rig back to one of our DJs. I was like, fuck right. That's how we had it locked at one time.
Cat and mouse, bro. Cat and mouse. I remember one day, like being told that DTI were out, and I went to the site. We were at Herne Hill then. I went to the site then. I remember going up in the lift. The station had just gone off. I remember getting to the top of the thing, and then the DTI guys got into the lift. And they were like, too late today, mate. Too late today. And they were like, so G Money, how's it going? I'm like, how do you not know who I am? And like, man.
Let me ask you about one of the iconic shows. I mean, there was many shows that people liked, but one of the shows that really stood out was the Three Wise Men, which was you, Marky Mark, and DJ Yardy. How did that come about? And what was it about?
If I remember correctly, there was just, I can't remember specific, but I think it was just one of those things that just happened. Like, you know, coming from a rave, and then man's like, let's go to the station. And then we go to the station, we start talking, the phone starts ringing. And before you know it, it's a whole thing. I can't remember the specifics of how it started, but it was very organic.
Yeah, what was it about? What did you talk about?
Do you know what? Honestly, we just used to talk rubbish. Like, honestly, it was just like, what I think is, and basically it was a podcast without being a podcast, because it wasn't about the music. And it was one of the few shows where we just talked and took phone calls. So literally, it was like literally one song an hour. And if you think about it, on a music-driven station, there's always going to be a space for somebody who talks. And then that's why now the freedom of speech talk show with Mark blew up and all those things, because people want to hear real conversations. And at 12 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get slightly inebriated, drunk conversations. Some man might have had a little puff, you know. So not that drugs are bad though, but yeah.
You know, so funny talking about the Three Wise Men. I just found a quote. Somebody mentioning them listening to BASSLINE FM. It is a journalist who is a famous interweb journalist at the time. And they were listening to BASSLINE FM. They're from Oval. And it says, the afternoon programming of BASSLINE FM yesterday consisted of 3 men talking for 3 hours about pot noodles.
Yeah. Pretty much. Sounds accurate.
And then it says, they played half a record, which was insipid new soul, and then played some bomb sounds, and then talked more about pot noodles.
No, sounds legit. Sounds legit. Probably being. You see, the thing about it is we rewrote the rules, you know. Indeed. At the end of the day, it's like, even if you bring things up to the modern space, things evolve, people evolve, stations evolve. It's all about evolution, and that's somebody who obviously didn't like pot noodles, and I don't like them anyway. So I can agree now. Like who the hell does that?
Was there anybody else doing that at the time? Was there any other stations doing what you lot was doing?
Not to that level. Genesis had a show. It wasn't like what Three Wise Men were doing. You know,
Genesis was always more conscious. They were always much more. They were much more conscious and ready to go and chant down Babylon.
Man, that was the most hilarious experience ever. Listening to the Three Wise Men, that was a really great show. That was one of my favorites on the station.
Before we pop off of Bassline and go into some of the stuff that you done after Bassline, because I think that's very important as well for the culture to know that how you grew, not bigger than Bassline, but you grew out of Bassline and you had to step out of Bassline in order to move up the levels for your career. You alluded to it earlier, and I think I want to touch on it. We had a spat. We had a falling out, and we were very close. G, you, me, and Yardi. We were
no doubt.
very, very close.
This is the time for me and Reggie to keep quiet.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, you want to keep quiet now? You want to keep quiet now?
All ears, less mouth. Come on.
Do you want to do? I mean, we have talked about it. G, do you want to describe it how you felt at the time with what I did?
Fam, let me tell you what this guy did, bro. So look at Reggie with the popcorn. First of all, I didn't know that Ray had a problem. I had no idea that, and we'll talk about the problem. I had no idea that Ray had a problem with me. So I'm just business as usual. So one Saturday, I was over Northwest listening to Ray's show, and Ray's like, so yeah, it's been a great few years on Homeboys, but everything must come to an end, and this is my last show. This guy quit on air, bruv.
Live on air, you done it like that?
Live on air, bro. I have never driven back from Harlesden to Brixton as fast as I drove that day. And I still didn't make it before he finished just as soon as I got there. Because I wanted to go in that studio and just say, get off my station. Get off my station. Like, how dare you quit on air, bro?
All right, so come on.
I got.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt.
All right, wait, what was the issue? What caused it? We're not getting there.
No, we can go there. Because I don't think it was that bad, really. The issue was at the time for me. You hear how we talk. We're very driven. The station wouldn't have got there, and we were driving each other to do better. Me, G Money, DJ Yardi, always thinking of new things to do, always pushing. And to be honest with you, them guys always backed everything that I wanted to do. Anything that I brought to them, they always backed it. And I think I got to the point with the radio where it wasn't even their fault, but I thought maybe it was me just getting stale, and maybe it was just me wanting more from the radio station. And before
Ray, I'm not going to allow you to do that.
So what did you think it was? What did you think?
I can tell you what it was.
She was playing better records.
I can tell you what it was. No. You left the station. Let me tell you why you left the station.
Yeah.
To launch his own station.
In 1997, at the Millwall football ground.
Lions there.
You and Raymond, you and Yardi and Donovan from Choice.
Yeah.
We did When the Clock Strike.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, let's go back. If you remember, and I saw Shugs on here earlier, right?
Yep.
Millwall football ground, I found that venue because 90% booked me for an event. It was a Valentine's event in Millwall football ground. Because I was cool with 90% of them, still am. Big up the Ghana Connect, yeah? I'm always in Ghana. Even on my hat right now, it's the Ghanaian flag there. That's all right. Me and Ghana were nice. So I was always cool with 90%. So when they booked me for that event in February, I remember asking the guy who was in charge of the venue, I'm like, you guys must be booked for New Year's Eve. And he was like,
I'm here, by the way. He said he's still
here.
Big
up Shugs. Yeah, big up Shugs, yeah? So I can tell you, Shugs, what's the guy's name? The guy, the manager of 90%. Is it Dennis?
Dennis.
Radical D. Radical D.
Yeah, Dennis.
£300 for that gig. And I took that £300 and went straight into that office of where they had the event and booked New Year's Eve. Came back to you, Yardi, and then you brought in Donovan, actually. You brought in Donovan, yeah? Because we thought to ourselves, we get Choice of them involved. This venue can hold 4,000 people. We're nice. Donovan did what he had to do. The dance was mad. It was. Come on, it was. I remember it was a nice dance. It was a nice dance.
Yeah, but okay, but get to it because this is 1997.
Yeah.
I didn't leave Baseline to 2003, but okay.
No, bro. You left Baseline before then.
Finish the story first.
You left. Let me tell you. You left Baseline in 99.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
I left Baseline in 2002. So you left Baseline in 1999. And you know why you left? You left because the year after, I went and did the same dance, When the Clocks Strike, with Donovan, and I didn't bring in you or Yardi. That's why you left.
You sure?
Because you were like, that was why you left. Because
Ray was carrying feelings. Ray was carrying feelings.
Because it was it was that, bro. That's why it was. Because you guys were, how can this guy do this event with Donovan and leave me out? And me and you were always closer than me and Yardi, and you know this.
So, but why did you do that anyway? If that's the case, why did you do that?
Because I was a big man then, and I'm a big man now.
Principles, you see, I was running on principles. Anyway,
you were running on principles. It's true.
Listen. That doesn't even matter because let me tell you, because as you see how me and G Money are now, and the love that I have, and
wait,
the love.
Wait. Vogue FM.
Yeah, yeah, of course I wanted to do my own stuff. But anyway, before we go.
Yeah, that's
Listen.
by the way, for our listeners. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, wait, before you say that, for our listeners, we got overtime, we got extra time. We're not cutting it short. It's the full story today. It's the full story today.
Okay.
So,
I'm on air. I'm on air in like 4 hours, but go on.
All right.
Okay.
You lot can talk about. Okay, hold on. Let me
let's talk.
I think I need to say this. I think I need to say this, and then you can say what you want about Vogue FM. So let me just say this. So it's official and it's documented. Yeah. No matter what happened and what I did at the time, to be honest with you, yeah, you're right. G, we're all older. It's 20 odd years. And definitely I could have handled it better at the time. And probably I should have handled that better. But it does not at all take away the love that I've got for Baseline and the respect that I've got for them, because you guys got to remember, when a lot of people were turning their backs on Fifth Avenue, Baseline didn't. So
true,
110%, I will always be there and always have been there. Apart from that little time, but still,
you know what?
You know what I mean?
No, honestly though, Ray. Like, honestly, and I've said this to you, and I'll say it. I always looked up to you, and let me tell you why I always looked up to you. Because I remember on those occasions when even I needed money, I could go to your house when you lived in, what's that place near Maplin? Forest Hill. Yeah. And Ray had this little yellow bag.
What was that? When the clock strikes money.
Bro, Ray always had money, bro. Ray always had money. This little yellow bag.
Yeah, that's from When the Clock Strikes. It never ran out. Best New Year's Eve ever.
Oh man, good times.
It was child minding money.
Exactly.
Money.
Yeah, but I mean, I left it and I went on to do Vogue, which gave me another respect for the work that G and Yardi put in, and B and Patrick put in, and all them guys who own the station. Because until you own the station, you don't really know the pain of what they go through in terms of running a business. And that was the first business I owned myself. You know what I mean? I did it. In fact, I did it with Johnny Maestro, which was your mate again. Let's not. Shall we? Because we didn't talk your your business partners at any one time. So you had Johnny Maestro, yeah.
I didn't even. What? Johnny Maestro was your business partner at Vogue.
He was my business. He was.
So I killed two birds with one stone.
Anyway, yeah, so you had a relationship with Johnny Maestro. How was that anyway? Was that good? How was that for you?
Fam, Johnny got lost in the sauce, man.
Okay.
Let me tell you. John Maestro is a great businessman. I don't know what your dealings with, but no. And he talked, and he always talked the good talk and stuff.
Yeah.
But you see, the thing is,
I think you pulled it there. And then, before you so let's go right forward to more or less your ending of Baseline. When you was always driven that you was going to get on One Extra, because that was your calling. You was always driven that you wanted to get onto a legal station. But obviously you couldn't get onto a legal station and own a community station.
Pirate station. Yeah,
pirate station time. So what was the transition then? Because then you had a talk with one of our fellow DJs. One of our partners, fellow partners, wasn't that? Wasn't that right? So you had to talk with Yardi. That was DJ Yardi, right?
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
Yeah.
So you had to talk with Yardi, and he became the holder of Baseline Hot 97.9. I didn't even talk about when we got the hot into Baseline.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna put my hands up and admit to something that I did that perhaps I could have handled better. By the time Yardi was getting involved in the station per se, I was frustrated with, and as my later life has shown me, I'm one of those kind of people who, if I want something done, I want it done now, innit? And if you can't do it, I'm gonna do it myself. So my relationship, as much as Romantic Murphy was the founder and the guy who brought me in, my relationship with him left me frustrated because we never could move as fast as I thought we needed to move. So when Yardi came in, and Yardi didn't give me all the money he was supposed to give me either. He still owes me, but it's cool. But yeah, when Yardi came in,
that's written off now. That's written off.
Yeah, it's written off. Yeah. When Yardi came in, I literally, I saw that as myself cashing out, and I was just said, "What? I'm taking this money. This is my sweat equity, and what happens after this? What it just happens." So I was always around to try and help and to guide and say, "Do this, do this." But then Yardi had his ideas to go in whatever direction he wanted to go in. PC kind of faded into the background, and I just went off and did my thing. And at the end of the day, yes, maybe if in 2020 you'd say that I was selfish to do so, but I had no choice because I'd put all those years into the station, and I wasn't about to have an opportunity to exit with a couple £1,000 and just move on. And
so you left it. So like you went there, you walked into One Extra. Was it a culture shock for you?
One Extra for me wasn't a culture shock, because when I got to One Extra, and I'll tell you how I got to One Extra, since you guys obviously don't think I was good enough, but I'll tell you how I got to One Extra.
No, not you guys. You can't label the you guys.
Anyway, I'm just joking. I'm joking.
Know the story.
No, but that's not a nice joke.
Obviously, no, it's fine.
No,
bro. No, I'm not going to lose it. But I think my career speaks for itself. But anyway, what I'm saying is that we were obviously doing a lot of work with Def Jam. I'll tell you how it was then. Since you guys, and Cisco was in town. So Cisco was in town, and he was launching his album, and they threw a party for Cisco. You remember that party for Cisco, right?
Yeah.
Ray Paul was at that party. Big up Ray Paul, who now runs Playmaker. And I was at the party. Mike Anthony was there. And Mike Anthony started talking to Ray. And Mike said, "Oh, by the way, this is G Money," to Ray Paul. And Ray was like, "You're the guy from Baseline." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Give me a number." Ray called me a year later. 1 year later, I was in the record shop in Cole Harbour Lane, Blacker Dredge record shop. The phone rang. It was a Saturday afternoon. And Ray said to me, "Hey, what's up? This is Ray. We met, blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Yeah, I'll call you back." This is before, I didn't even think about it. And then when Ray called back, he asked me a question. "Are you into football?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Yo, I've got a Saturday afternoon slot. Come and do a pilot." And that was it. That's how I got in.
And that was the sports show, wasn't it? If I remember
And
right.
it was a sports show, so I didn't go in. I didn't. No, that was after.
Okay.
So for those of you, so that's how I got into One Extra. I got a phone call. I wasn't overly into sport, but if I had to go and do sport to get in, I went and did sport. Y'all didn't know that though, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Y'all wanted your own stories. Because you wanted me to come and say, oh, Semtex opened the door. Da, da, da. Fuck y'all. That's what you wanted to hear. I've dropped my headphones.
Who wanted to hear? I already knew the story because you told me.
No one wanted to hear that, and I knew the story before anyway. So cool.
Remember,
G. So G. So you're in One Extra.
Yeah.
Who was Alex or Alex used to work with you? Was that at One Extra?
Alex.
Yeah.
No, so Alec, big up Twin B, both of them. So Alec and Alex.
Sorry. And just for everybody who's joined late, they are now head honchos at Def Jam UK.
0207 Def Jam.
Yeah.
Just to be correct.
Well, I first knew about Alec and them from a mixtape they had done called Split Mics. And I remember that Split Mics mixtape, it was like the hottest thing on the street. And I remember there was a producer at One Extra called Sunil. And I remember Sunil getting hold of that mixtape and he's like, yo, these kids are amazing. They're on the pulse of everything and we need to get them in. I remember Sunil, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Sunil actually worked on the pilot for Alec to get into. And Alex was always DJing. So at the time, Alex... I had a company called Angles Marketing in Borough. Our office was in Borough. So my business partners were a guy called Cezanne, who's a video director, and a guy called Antoine Bellot Dixon, who's a video director. And we had a company called Mastermind Productions. They had 80%, I had 20%, something like that. But I owned my company outright. So Alex used to work for us. As a matter of fact, I ain't even gonna lie to you, Alex was more dedicated to that company probably than even I was. So Alex was the guy, and Alex had the hunger for the industry. And one story I can tell you about Alex, I remember there's a time when there used to be a sandwich shop next to the office, and I asked him to get me a sandwich, and he went to the sandwich shop and he bought a sandwich from me, and he didn't buy one for himself. And I was like, bro, how comes you haven't bought food for yourself, bruv? And he was like, I don't have any tunes. And I remember giving him some tunes that day. And I said, yeah, no, where we come from, we can't just eat and one person eat alone, And Alex, I mean, in those days was the most, and probably still is the most humble person. He's so his energy is divine.
Yep.
So when I read that today, and to give you an example, when I read that story about him going to 0207 Def Jam, and the fact that he even mentioned that we used to work together, because I'd even forgotten about that. That was just such a small part of the story. But I guess it was small to me, but it was more important to him,
So we're going back to what, 2015, 2014 then?
No, this is 2003 or 2004.
Yeah.
Because I was at One Extra then.
Yeah.
Because I used that One Extra money to set up that office. Office was nice, fam.
and tell us some of the artists, some of the first artists that you worked on some of their first albums, and who used to manage.
All right, so I worked on Dizzy's first album. Well, actually, Dizzy Rascal's first two albums, Boy in the Corner and Showtime. Man's even on the credits of those albums.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got points on it?
No points on it though. But it was a list. No, let me explain. Dizzy Rascal was the catalyst for the whole company. So when Dizzy won the Mercury Award in 2003, when he went on stage, because we were all there, I was there, Semtex was there, Nick was there, Nick Huggett, who was the A&R guy, who's actually now the A&R guy who signed Adele. We were all at the same table, and also Nick, the manager, as well. when Dizzy went to collect his award, which by the way, none of us knew he was gonna win, he thanked me, he thanked Septex, he thanks the label. Now, after he did that, I started getting so much work from record labels. So I did Wiley's first album as well, the underground, the pirate marketing for that. Even there was this, what was it? I remember the name this morning. This white chick who was supposed to be grime and pop, Lady Sovereign.
Lady Sovereign, bloody
Bruh.
hell. Yeah.
I made some good money out of that, bro. What? Fam, I didn't do nothing. I was just, I was on a retainer, bro. Some good money. That project went nowhere. But that retainer was nice. And at that time I was managing Tinchy Strider.
Okay.
That's a fairly good roster, isn't it?
Gee, did you work on the Taz project? Was that one of your early projects?
Taz, T-A-Z.
Yes.
Taz, man.
Imagine I've still got like the t-shirt in my cupboard, like out there. That was
Who was
it wasn't
Taz?
my project.
If you can
Taz
explain
was signed to Def Jam.
Def Jam UK at the time, yeah.
But you know what though? I still maintain Taz is super talented. I just don't think
He just had a hit the other day with Moose T. Yeah,
is he still working? Is he still doing his stuff now?
Producing.
Fam, I'm in Africa, brother. How am I supposed to know?
No, Taz is still producing. Taz has had a couple of hits. He's just recently had that big, massive hit with Moose T, which is like a dance record, which was quite big. But he's still producing and doing stuff. So where my office is,
right,
publishing company. So I saw him a couple of.
But Taz was always talented though. Like I just don't think, in those days we didn't have social media, so it was the label's way, and if it worked, it worked, and if it didn't, it would. If Taz came out now, where you have all the tools in front of you, where you have social media, you have SoundCloud, many of those artists who didn't quite blow 20 years ago would have gone through the roof now. But Taz came out. Taz is a great producer, by the way, no lie.
Wicked,
yeah.
Big up Hanif is saying hello, mate. I don't know when last.
Big up Hanif. Big up Hanif, man. Is he still rich?
Has he ever been poor? I don't know. I don't think so.
Big up Hanif, boy. That's that real money right there.
G. So fast forward to when you left. Did you just what happened? Why you left One Extra?
Why I left One Extra, or why I left the UK?
If it was both the same story, then that's fine.
So, One Extra. So when I was at One Extra, it was 2007, and what's her name? She's now head of Radio 1. Had just come in.
Lorna Clark.
Lorna, that's right. So Lorna had come in to be the controller of radio of One Extra, and there was a whole raft of changes. Guys were, it was like the night of long swords. Guys were being chopped left, right, and center. And funnily enough, for me, is that I think I was too accommodating while I was at One Extra. So, for example, you've gone in there as a music person. But because I believed in the station, I allowed myself. There's a minute I was working on a news program, so I wasn't rooted into the music of the station. But that in itself was actually the blessing in disguise, because I was at One Extra one day, and there was a guy who was sitting in the corner, and he was just taking notes, and I thought it's just a BBC auditor. So he's there for a couple of days, and then when I spoke to him, he's like, "Yo, what's going on? We're gonna start a radio station in Kenya, and I've just come for training." And then I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting. Like, when you go to Kenya, just hit me up. I'll come and do your breakfast show." But I was just, I was just talking. I wasn't gonna leave. At that point, I'd never been to Africa. So, and then he kept on emailing me saying, "Are you serious? When can you come?" And then he made me an offer, and I was like, "Nah, that's not enough money for me to leave what I'm doing." And then he made me another offer, and I was like, "Okay, that is enough money for me to leave what I'm doing." And I said, let me come for 3 months. See, the worst case scenario, I'm going to beat the winter. I'll spend time in Africa, and 3 months became a year became 2, became 5, became 10, and here I am still.
Gee, I mean, that was a lot for you to leave your roots, to leave your family, to just pick up for that opportunity and just go. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to do that.
See, I'm courageous.
So in your time there, what kind of artists has rolled through Homeboys? Because I know,
Bro,
I know a few that you've done, but
my career began when I came to Kenya. No, that's not true. In case anybody from Kenya is watching, it's not true. My career elevated even further when I came here, and I'll say that because whether we know it or not, in the entertainment industry in the UK, we operate with glass ceilings. Mm-hmm. There's things you can do, things you can't do. There's a level you'll never get beyond. You know. Is that because of social economics, or is that because of race? That's because of race and social economics.
Yeah,
it's both. It's because at the end of the day, it's like what you don't understand is, and I guess let me speak as a Jamaican in Africa, right? I came here with the mentality of somebody who'd grown up in Halls and grown up in Brixton and grown up in Jamaica, right? Which is always, if I'm going to be a DJ, I can only get to this level. If I'm going to be a pirate guy, I'm going to get to this level. The idea of dreaming to become stupidly rich or stupidly wealthy or stupid somewhere else, I didn't have that mentality. When I came to Kenya, I had like 5-6 pairs of Prada, bare name brand stuff. I was spending that BBC money just buying clothes. I came to Kenya, rocking my Pradas and all those. Nobody cared.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No one cared. Like it didn't mean anything. So then I had to say to myself, and I wrote about it at the time because I write a lot. You also check out my website, conradgray.com. I write a lot. So for those talking about stuff, go to my website. Come on, I got to plug myself.
No, it's cool.
Yeah. So when I wrote about the time, I said, you know what? I'm gonna challenge myself to go into a country where I can't speak the language. I don't know anybody, and if I'm as good as I think I am, I'm gonna be okay. But if I'm rubbish, I'll just go home.
Yeah,
that's
nothing
it.
to lose. Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. Nothing to lose. And I killed it.
And you still ain't mentioned some of the artists that you brought
in Kenya.
Yeah, to Kenya. I just wanted to.
Chronix, Chronix' career started in Kenya. I met Chronix in 2010 in Jamaica. 2010. When Chronix sent me his first single, Behind Curtain, I sent that single to ZJ Sparks in Jamaica, who began to play it, and the buzz began there. Chronix was touring in Kenya before he could even get a show in Jamaica.
Mad.
Those are facts. 100% facts.
Mad.
So it's like Chronix is one of them. Chris Martin, Conscience, all of them have been here. Elaine's been here with the Romains Virgo. So reggae wise, like I was because I don't do as much now, but I was that bridge between Jamaica and Kenya.
In Kenya, they call you the dancehall ambassador. Is that right?
Damn right. It's only right.
Yeah.
Don't let me start playing dub plates to prove it. Yeah.
Now, G, away from the music, can you blow away the myth of the West of Africa? How does Africa look in your eyes away from the music?
Bro, look at me, fam.
It looks like he's age.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about.
I'm glowing.
Yeah, you're glowing. That's you personally. I'm talking about the outside.
Africa. No. All right. So obviously there are challenges. Yeah.
Yes.
But guess what? There are challenges everywhere, fam. The thing about it is, Africa is there's a connection that you have. Mm-hmm. There's a connection that you have that I can't even put words to it, bruv. Like, it's like being in Jamaica. You go yard and you're in the majority. But when you think about the opportunity to do stuff and the opportunity to invest in stuff and the opportunity to open doors and build industries and build businesses, fam, it's crazy, bro. Like, fam,
No,
I don't know how many MPs kids you know or hang out with, but fam, if you need to get something done, you can get it done.
Yeah,
Bro.
What? Gee, what?
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So you know the network, yeah.
What was interesting was I was watching BBC like World Service, and their East African correspondent came up talking about the elections, and the East African correspondent was G Money. Are you
Exactly.
Are you still
Plugged in.
are you still plugged into
Hey.
specific question? Are you still plugged into the politics? What's going on in Africa?
100%. I mean, it's frustrating. A lot of it's frustrating. Big up Roger Bailey. I see Roger Bailey's here as well.
And he said Twin, and he said Twin is locked in. Maybe that's what
Big up Twin, man. Big up Twin. So yeah, I mean, for me, let me tell you, like, I'm not here for politics, you know. I'm here to.
I have got two politic questions I want to ask you. Though.
No, it's cool. You can come with it. What I'm trying to say is this, right? I got my teeth fixed. You lot see that?
Yeah, we say you're glowing, man. You're glowing.
No gaps. The gaps are gone. They're gone. But yeah, what I'm saying is this, right? Fam, my soul is breathing, bro. Like, I tell people this all the time, and I'm so glad that my grandmother took me to Jamaica when I was a kid to show me there was life outside of England. You know, I would not be where I am right now in my life if I was in the UK. Maybe I would be, but maybe I wouldn't be. But I wouldn't feel as fulfilled as I do now, and I continue to feel fulfilled, even despite changes and stuff. I've had a good time, man. I've had a really good time.
Okay, so can you shed some light on the conflict that's happening in Ethiopia, where a lot of the people of Ethiopia are leaving and going to Sudan, and I'm hearing they're going to Kenya to get away. Are you on top of that at the moment?
So basically, one thing that I learned very quickly when I came to live on the continent is that the biggest divisive thing amongst us is tribes.
Yeah.
Now, you know, in Jamaica, we don't have a tribe. You know, Jamaica, you're just a Jamaican, you know. So when I came here and guys are talking about there's 47 different tribes, and there's always been ethnic strife, because if you think about the history of Africa, Africa was never divided along the lines of community. It was always divided along the lines of economics. So when colonialism happened, especially in West Africa and in parts of this region, guys just cut lines. Oh, this is Kenya, that's Eritrea, that's Ethiopia. So you're always going to have ethnic clashes, because you can have people who think that they have the same claim on the same ancestral land, and those clashes develop into unrest. And that's what's happening in Ethiopia. It happens in Somalia. It happens across the continent.
Yeah, because there's a big thing happening with the elections in Uganda at the moment as well, isn't it?
So Uganda's a slightly different story, in the sense that the president of Uganda has been there since 1986. And 86, right? So he's like the last long-term president in Africa. And what's beautiful about that situation is that, or what's happening, even though it's a lot of lives are being lost, is that the young people in Uganda have had enough, and they've crystallized around Bobby Wine, who's an artist.
Yeah,
I know Bobby Wine, he's an artist. You know what I'm trying to say? They have crystallized around him, and I got so much respect for him. I mean, this is a guy who at one point I'd be talking to about doing a show or a song.
Yeah.
Now I see this guy taking it to the dictator in Uganda. And in any revolution, lives are going to be lost, and it's unfortunate. But I'm just praying for my brothers and sisters over there, because I love Uganda. And I've traveled the whole continent, but I love Uganda.
D-Money.
Yay.
BBI. Tell me.
Yes. So BBI is the Building Bridges Initiative. I feel like you're quizzing me, but I'm up for it. BBI
No, you're my BBC East African correspondent. So I'm just giving you know.
So all right, I'll give it to you. So BBI is called the Building Bridges Initiative. What has happened with BBI is that the incumbent president has teamed up with the long-term leader of the opposition.
President Kenyatta.
is teamed up with the long-term opposition leader Raila Odinga, and they're trying to redo the constitution, ostensibly to make it a more inclusive society. But what a lot of people are doubting is whether it's been done altruistically and whether they're just doing it to ensure political dynasties. So there's two camps. There's those who are pro BPI and those who are anti BBI. And the president launched the 1 million signature drive yesterday, I think it was. So yeah, that's what's happening at the moment.
You're very well in tune with your African and local politics, G. Well done. I commend you on that. Well done.
Next,
Well done.
are you done? Do you want me to talk about Nigeria?
No. Just
No. G,
I'm good. I've got one more, but I'm going to save that to the last one.
Okay.
G, what's the future for you? I mean, what's going to happen now? I mean, what are you looking for? I mean, you must be planning. Everybody who's got any sense in this time now has taken the reset and has looked to plan for when they're coming out of it and how, and you know, and what is their future? How are they going to secure their future? And I know that you are definitely doing that. So just tell us a bit about what's in the future
for me.
For B-Money.
What's in the future for me is I have a company over here. It's called The Good Company. The good stands for getting out our dreams, like Kanye West. Pretty much, we because I thought about my life when I started that company. I thought about myself saying I have all these dreams that I've always had in my, but I've never had the vehicle to get them out. So that's okay. You know, I don't know if anyone from the tax department is on this live, so I can't talk too much about it. That does okay. I'm joking, by the way. We haven't made profit for 2 years. but yeah, so that's growing. That's something I'm excited about. But for me, the future is 100% in creating platforms and ownership. And for example, the podcast, like, you know, we signed a deal with the biggest telephone company in East Africa. They're now, you know, they've come on board. I've got like 3-4 phone calls today from major brands who want to now get onto the podcast, because we don't, you know, I'm in my house, but you can see, like, you know, it's a proper studio, and it's like, for us, it's all about being creative. Now, the thing about it is, I don't know about you, but personally, like, I DJ a lot. Like, I mean, obviously not so much with COVID, maybe once a week, but I DJ a lot. But I'm at a point in my life where, do I want to do 4 gigs a week? Do I want to do 3 gigs a week? Do I want to travel? Do I want to go to Dubai? Do I want to do all of these things? I don't know if I want to do it for much longer, you know? So for me, the future is in creating platforms, creating value, and continually evolving, man. Like, for my new thing now is that I've got into videography and photography and stuff. So I just want to live that creative life. And if everything fails, it's cool. My brother's like a multi-millionaire, so I'm nice. So is there any regrets for G Money? I'll tell you one thing I do think about sometimes. Sometimes I wonder how life would have been if I hadn't left the UK. Like, if I hadn't left the UK, there are times when I think that I see things happen in the UK, especially in the music scene, you know, even the exciting things with Twin and Sem and all these things, and I think to myself, damn, man, if I was there, I'd have been in the middle of that, you know. And I do sometimes miss it. I won't lie, because, you know, over here, I'm not in that space. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, that's the future. But then, that's what you can build.
But then, yeah. But the beautiful thing about that is that we've all lived and seen the global barriers shift. So, you know, if NSG drops a tune tonight, I'll have it on my show tomorrow morning.
Indeed.
If I was going on air in an hour's time. So the barriers have got, and what I love, I'm so excited. By the way, I'm so excited about the connection between Africa, the UK, and the Caribbean right now, musically.
Right, yeah.
Because I'm so excited. Like, I'm so excited about, I mean, I don't want to start a controversy, but, you know, some people say Afro swing, some people say Afro bashment. I'm super excited about that, because for me, it's the full circle. I'll give you an example. Well, I was in Ghana the other day, and I do a radio show in Ghana. Or I used to do a radio show in Ghana. So I was in Ghana the other day, and Doneo dropped a remix for his song Chalice, right? This was last year. Can you imagine, like, I'm playing that song on a radio station in Ghana, and I'm thinking, damn, Doneo, Northwest London, Ghanaian roots, Sarkodie, I just saw him earlier, Pato Rankin, my brethren from Lagos. Fam, it's a beautiful place to be, bruv.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place to be. You know what I'm trying to say? I look at someone like Burna Boy. Bro, I used to DJ with Burna Boy like years ago, like Uganda, Kenya, these places, right? I said to Burna Boy one day, and this is why, even though a lot of people have got so many things to say about Burna, if there's one artist who loves music, it's Burna Boy. That guy loves music. And I remember sitting with Burna, and Burna's telling me, how comes you don't know about J5? How comes you don't know about Abracadabra? How comes you don't know about J Huz? How come you don't know about this and that? And I'm like, bruh, I'm in Kenya discussing the UK scene with a man, even though we used to live in South and Ting, bro, it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah, definitely.
And just to wrap up that point, I don't think we don't need any more barriers. We need to accept music wherever it's made as ours. And that's the mission that I'm on.
I got to send a big shout to Tapaniza, who's just
big up Taps
Africa, Sony Africa, and
she's big up Taps
to bridge that gap. So there's a lot of things, and there's great stuff happening.
You know what? Let me tell you about a story about Taps real quick. The late Richard Antwi, God rest his soul, great friend of mine, like one of my closest friends. He introduced me to Taps like 8-9 years ago, and he just sent an email. It was simply, yo, Taps, this is G, this is Taps. I think you guys should talk. And then when I saw her being, announced as Sony's Africa director, I was just mad happy for her, man.
Yeah, no, good.
Well done, Taps. Nice to hear. G, one of the last question, because we've been here for 2 hours now talking to you, which has been great.
Yeah.
But what I want to ask you is, this is the first time I know you've been watching Set the Trend. Second year. I think so we just started our second year of this.
I watched all of it, bruv. Like all of them. Even when you had Big G on it, I didn't agree with nothing that he said.
Thank you. So how
we got Big G?
Are the real G this?
Are the real G. How important is it? Do you think? I mean, we started this platform for people to tell their own story for the culture. How important do you think telling your story about what you achieved and what you did in the culture to inspire others? How important is that to you? Bro,
it's so important, fam. Let me tell you how important it is. I remember when I was at high school, a history teacher once said to me, Miss Joseph, she said to me, you know what my biggest fear for the future is? That people are going to stop writing their own history. And she said to me when I was at school, like all those years ago, bruv, and every time someone says to me, G, you need to write a book, or every time I see one of my peers write a book, I think to myself, man, you know what? We need to encourage more people to write and record our history. Because until the lion can talk, you'll only hear the tales from the hunter. You know?
100%.
So it's like, so it's like the thing about it is we have a responsibility, because everything, if we specifically talk about street sounds and the street sound culture, right? People have built industries on the back of work that was done by people before them. And it's okay, because not everyone's going to get recognized for what is done, yeah? But if you know that you've contributed to society, whether it's through music or whatever, fam, it's not about living small. I lived small for so much of my life. You said I'm a humble guy. I'm still a humble guy, but you know what that humbleness was? That was imposter syndrome. Never thinking I was good enough. Never thinking that I actually was what people were saying. Fam, now you got to live your truth out loud and tell people exactly what you've done. When you say to me, did I open up the dancehall scene in Africa and Kenya? 5 years ago, I'd have been like, oh, there were other people who were involved. Yes, I fucking did. I did. And you will recognize that I did. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. So it's important,
and that's part
it's
of the legacy.
important.
Yeah, you got
Legacy.
own it.
You have to, and that's how people become inspired. If people before us didn't tell us their stories, how would we have role models? There are people right now who are in the content in the Facebooks who probably heard of me when they were at primary school and wondered what happened to this guy. Like, where? I met Chucky, you know, Chucky online. Shout out to Chucky. Yeah. I met Chucky last year when I was in London, and Chucky, and I went to Chucky as a fan. Mm-hmm. I was with Shawnee B because I watch all of Chucky's stuff. I think he's amazing, right? And I went to Chucky. He was in Nighttown, and I was with Shawnee B. And you know what Chucky said to me? Chucky said to me, "But bruv, you were just around, and then you just disappeared, bruv. Nobody knew what happened to you." Bro, I was shocked that Chucky even knew who I was.
Wow.
I was shocked he even knew who I was. And I spoke to TLC last year when you gave me his number, Ray. And man said the same thing. And I didn't realize the impact that I had because when I left, I just left. Mm-hmm. I just left. Like, I didn't look back. I just left. 2 suitcases, bam, I'm gone. You know?
So, you're saying that you're getting on the air in 4 hours?
3 hours.
No, actually, it's not that. It's 1:15. I'm on air at 6. You can listen to my show as well. www.hbr.co.ke. Okay,
that's what I was going to ask you. What's your
handle? How can people get hold of you if they want to connect?
Oh, so you can. So on Instagram, let me just type it in. It's @gmoneyisme with a Z. @gmoneyisme with a Z. And it's always good to hear from the UK people, for real. So hit me up on Instagram. Also on Facebook. What's my name these days on Facebook? Anthony Gray, which is my name. Conrad, Anthony Gray.
Ain't it Conrad?
Yeah, it's Conrad, but only my grandmother calls me Conrad, so I use my middle name. Yeah, Anthony Gray. And on Twitter, I'm the person. I don't fight as much as I used to on Twitter, but my Twitter handle is also @gmoneyisme, spelled with a Z.
Oh,
but I'll get, yeah.
I'm going to say 2 things before I go. One, I'm going to be cheeky, and one, I'm going to say something else. Can I be cheeky?
You can be. You've been cheeky all night.
On your show later on, you're going to play what gospel artists are you going to play?
Do you know what? That's not even it's not a joke though. Because and I'm glad you said that. Because on my show, I have a feature called The Moment of Meditation, which I got from Angie Greaves when she used to be at Choice FM. She used to read a book called Moments, Acts of Faith every morning on Choice FM. And it was so impactful that when I came here, I got the same book and had the same feature. So every morning I play a gospel song and I read the daily quote. And I've always given Angie her props for that. And one of the biggest songs that I introduced to Ken is a song called Anyway by Terry Garman. Thank you very much. I might play it for you tonight. Any other questions?
What's your local gospel artist though?
You have so many local gospel. You have so many local gospel artists.
That was a joke.
Okay.
You said that one time. Someone sent you. You know what I'm referring to, yes?
What's that?
Somebody sent you a tweet and you saying you're going to play some gospel, and then they mentioned an artist and you said, "Who's that?" And then it exploded.
I'm not talking about that.
Reggie,
I'm not talking about that.
Reggie, before we shut the show, can you read out some of the comments in the Facebook? Because I'm sure that you've been keeping a watch of that. Is there any comments there?
In the Facebook.
Big up Blondie as well, because Blondie's been there.
Big up Blondie.
Show.
Blondie's been around, man.
Yeah.
Big up Blondie.
Flirt, absolutely loving the podcast. Thanks for the informative conversation. You guys have been brilliant. Sandra Prescott's Acts of Faith. Karen Scarlett saying that Ayanla Van Zant.
Ayanla Van Zant.
Powerful. Janet D, one of the best. Sandra Thomas, loving your story. The birthday girl from yesterday, Anike. Great show.
Happy birthday, Anika.
Anika even.
Anika,
Anika, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Listen, but watching all of the Facebook comments, the one common denominator is that there's a lot of love for you, G. There's a lot of people saying, look, man, big up G Money, bringing back some memories, talking the realness. Especially when you were talking about Africa, I got a text message to my phone saying, look, there you go, Jamaican man giving you an African lesson. Obviously, I'm Sierra Leonean, so that's
no doubt.
G,
true.
How important is it for these young DJs? Because we've had a few DJs from like the younger generation on, and they always talk about not getting through, someone blocking them. How important is it for them to live their dream, G, or to try and find a way through and to not give up?
Fam, and I'm glad that we're ending on that, because that's kind of inspirational. Honestly, I won't just say this to young people, I say this to anyone. One of the most, my life began the day I realized that I was going to die one day, So here's a choice. There's a choice we have, and it's a very simple choice. I can sit there and hope somebody opens a door for me and hope somebody facilitates me living my dream and gives me a hand up. If that happens, I'm thankful. It's all well and good. Thank you very much. I'll pray for you every night, right? But the reality is this. No one is coming to save anyone. We don't live. Life is different, bruv. Like, I'm never going to look at people and say to you that things are like they are the way they was. And yeah, maybe the generation who came before, they didn't open doors for us. But for me personally, I mean, end of the day, like, I learned from you, Ray. I learned from you, EastEnder. I learned from you. You guys were there. Like, at the end of the day, but if I didn't have the drive to learn, and do all of that stuff, then where would we be? Like, so the thing about it is, if you come to me today and you say to me, G, I want to be a radio guy like you, do you know what I'm going to say to you? All right, I'm going to say to you, what's the link to your podcast? Because guess what? In this day and age, the same phone that you're going to send me a message on to say, I want to do radio, you could be recording your podcast on that phone. You have to build. Bro, build it and they will come. My podcast is almost 2 years old. I've invested so much money in it, took out billboards, all of these things. And it's now 2 years down the line that everyone is like, oh, your numbers are amazing. We can work with you. But now I'm in a place where, you can work with me. I'm fully tax compliant. My company's there that I built. We've done all of these things. Yeah. Build it. That's right. Build it, and they will come. You have to build. If you don't create nothing, you won't own nothing. And pay attention to the craft. Learn how to. If you're gonna be a DJ, study the greats. Do it. Like, I was in a club today, and I'm not on Snapchat where I am now, and I had to call one of the youth them in the club and say, "Come and give me a tutorial about this Snapchat thing." You get me? I'm not gonna act like I'm too big to learn. You have to stay teachable. Keep learning, and build.
It's always been a pleasure speaking to you from 25 years ago, 20 years ago.
Yeah, man.
Listening to you today, you're older, you're wiser,
more fiery,
and more fiery.
And I've got great skin.
And you got cool with that one, yeah. And look, what you've achieved in your career so far is fantastic, and I know there's going to be many, many more things and many more goals that you're going to reach to and achieve. I just want to salute you because
thank you.
You're one of the ones that talk sense, make sense, and you put your money where your mouth is, and you put everything that you believe in, you put it in there and you go for it. Not many people do that. And I just want to say well done for that. And tell the people about
yourself.
Tell the people about your website and your books and what your little notes that you write and all that stuff. There's much more that we never covered that I wish we could have covered in this 2.5 hour podcast.
Jeez,
but,
that's long.
It's long, but
wait. Stop before you go. Because I want to. I made some.
Outro. We're not going yet.
Wait.
That was just my personal message to you.
All right, nice. Thank you. Nice. Before we go, I had some notes, some quick notes, yeah, because I want to make sure we cover. You know me, I'm always prepared. We did a channel U branding. That was one thing.
Talk about that, the channel, and that was when they first started, didn't it? Yeah, we didn't talk.
Yeah,
about
so my company did all of that. The Mastermind Productions did all of channel U's branding in the early days. Let me see. I wrote about Yardi here as well, but I won't read that. I wrote about Simple Simon. I wrote about Simple Simon saying that he should have cracked the mainstream. I don't know why he didn't. And I wrote that I'm proud of Milk Tray and DJ Play and Deep Clarity and big up the Mix Kids. And what else? Africa allowed me to do everything that I wanted. Freedom. It was so freeing. We spoke about that. And at some point in my career here, I've been on the radio when all of my competitors have all been my students.
Consummate professional.
And trying to go off the broadcast without you lot knowing all of that stuff. You get me? So yeah.
Big up, G. It's a
Nice
great
one.
conversation. It's so good to see you again. And you
No
know,
worries.
you've done great stuff, my friend. Definitely, 100%. We all came from the same school, more or less. So big up yourself, man. And you're definitely killing it over there in Africa.
G money,
Yep, no doubt.
G money. I don't know what I can say. I don't know what I can say about G. As you see, no matter. No, we've been through ups and downs, and there's no doubt about it. 100%. No, we've had more ups than downs. You know,
I want to hear some more
down.
stories about the downs. Though. I wanna hear-
Even
No,
G-Day
let me tell you.
doing
I'll be
engineering.
honest with you. I will always tell you 100% that like you guys played a big role in my life, so I'm never gonna. I can never doubt that. You know.
And
I don't think I should.
And we
No, I
salute
just
you
opened a Red
all
Bull.
the time.
no,
That's
no,
not a good
no.
idea. That's not a good idea.
But yeah, it's been a pleasure that you've come onto the show and shared your life with us, or part of your life with us. It's been very inspirational. It's been something I've wanted to discuss and talk about, and I think we sat around and we thought that this had to be part of Set the Trend. It had to be part of the journey. We had to put it in there because it was so pivotal in driving another way. It was another channel. It was to the mainstream channel that was, as they would say, the Premier League DJs, as they would say that this is an inspirational for all those DJs, because I keep hearing people talk about Premier League DJs, and it's coming like, sometimes they talk about Fifth Avenue like as if we was always Premier League DJs, and we wasn't, and you know what I mean, and it wasn't always like that. And for you to come on the show to express your love and your journey of the street culture that we was part of, and to making them have to recognize and open up the doors to some of the other DJs, you know what I mean, and especially for what you've done for Fifth Avenue, my hat always tips to you. And anyway, like we talk, we talk
regular.
It could be, if we don't talk for 6 months, we still got that love. And even though you had me off and I had you off, it's like a brother love. And that's how it should be. And that's how that's how it should be. And we're still here, and we're still joking.
But you know, one of the beautiful thing is, like after tonight's show, now I have off Mr. EastEnder, so it feels like home. I'm joking.
G Money,
it's all good.
Thank you very much for coming onto the show.
Thank you so much.
We will talk soon. Pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Man, respect, man.
Hot 97.9 FM.
Hot 97. Wait, one more thing. Do you know what's ironic? Do you remember when I went to New York and I took those jingles from Hot 97 and I recorded them?
Yeah.
And I brought them back?
Yeah.
Do you know the guy who does that voice? His name is Pat Garrett. I actually ended up getting him to do the station voice for the station here in Nairobi. Small world, huh?
Continue into existence.
Yeah, there you go.
Speak
Bless
into
up.
existence. Thank you, G.
Yeah, man.
Nice one, G.
No worries.
And all the crew have been listening on Clubhouse as well. So we were going out on Clubhouse. So big up those who were in the room.
On Facebook and on YouTube, Set the Trend Podcast. And we're here. Like and follow us on YouTube, because when we go live, you'll be one of the first to know. And we've got some more interviews to come. We've interviewed some people. Everton Roast to come. We have Booker T to come. Who else is in the can? Who else we done and is in the can? It seems so long ago at the minute.
Some roast, Booker T. Yeah.
Kenny Ken? Kenny?
Oh, yeah,
Kenny
that's
Ken.
and,
Kenny Ken.
Deluxe.
Yep. Anyway, there's about 7 or 8 of them, and it's just my mind's just gone at the minute. So we've got some more to come, and that is series 3, isn't it, Eastern? That's going to kick off series 3 very soon. Forgot to bring up J2 as well. G Money. Forgot to say that Jay Nelson did most of your flyers for Baseline FM back in the day. So big up Jay Nelson on that. One of our producers of the show, and also big up G-Day, who's been operating the show on his own today, flying solo.
Thank you. Done a good job.
Thank you.
And you know what? Nice. It was so nice to see some of the old DJs from Baseline in the chat as well, who saying so nice things, you know, and so proud to be part of Baseline FM.
And also go back onto our Fred. You will see our interview with Night Moves where we had Calvin Francis, Daddy Ernie, and Mystery. We just did that the other day as well. That was another one. For all you Night Moves fans out there and everything else, we brought back some memories then. Lads, I don't know if we'll see each other before Christmas live. We've got some more recordings to do, and you've got to do your weekly test for COVID just to make sure you still haven't got it. You know what I mean? Because we don't want it. We don't want it.
I've seen a few messages, and again, I just want to say thank you for your kind words and your prayers and all your well wishes that you sent in my direction. They worked, and you know, I was in intensive care, and I came out, and I think my life starts again.
Exactly. Exactly. And big up to the nurses as well who had to endure with you in there as well. Big up to the and doctors.
Was they washing you and all that?
Yeah. Of course they was.
How'd you feel about that?
Well, no complaints.
No complaints.
No,
Did you get excited? Was you excited about that?
No, nothing to be excited. Nothing to be excited about.
I take that back because his wife's washing, and then like I'll get a individual. Right. So before we go, Reggie, what are you doing for Christmas? It's just around the corner.
The sun, mate. I'm going to be away. I'm not even going to be here in the UK, so that's all I'm saying. So I'm going to spend Christmas away and looking forward to it. Really, you know what I mean?
Are you breaking the tier 1 and tier 2, tier 3?
No, he's going away. He's flying out of the UK, mate.
Oh, he's flying out.
He's going back to the land of Africa. Yeah, he's going back to Sierra Leone.
Yeah, I've got bits and pieces to do, and hopefully just set up for next year. Really, that's all.
Yeah, East End up. What are you doing, mate?
For Christmas, resting, staying at home with the family, not traveling, not going anywhere too far, staying and recovering and recuperating and getting myself back to full strength.
Good. For those of you, we're doing a brunch. Check out the Street Sounds brunch. If you haven't got your tickets, I don't even know if it's all sold out, but I know we got 2 rooms and it's more or less a couple of tables left. We're on Saturday the 13th of December. So
I heard that you got a new name. We should start calling you Wolf Blitzer.
I don't get that.
CNN Situation Room.
Yeah, CNN.
Yeah, like, that's what everyone's talking about right now.
Yeah. The Situation Room. Sundays. Thanks for that, Extender. Sundays. If you don't know, I do a radio show. Go back to radio again. I do a radio show Sundays 9 till midday on a Sundays. Just follow Fifth Avenue Official on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitch and on Mixcloud. Fifth Avenue Official. You can follow us there and see what the lads are getting up to. And I think that's about it. That's it.
Yep.
That's it, lads. 2 hours and 2.5 hours. But hey, who cares?
Yeah, that was nice.
I think it was definitely worth it. I like that. The recording will be out on YouTube, so you can go back and rewatch it. It will be out on Facebook, so you can go back and rewatch it. Most important, please go on our YouTube and like and follow us on YouTube.
Subscribe, share.
We've got some special guests. We've got some special guests coming up.
Spread the word. Tell everybody.
Thank you all for watching. Thank you everybody that contributed from a sentence to sentences, and thank you to some of the old schoolers who was bringing back some of the memories as well there as well. Thank you very much. Set the Trend podcast. Your boys are out. we'll see you on another time. EastEnder Reggie Styles vibes in the building, and we've gone. Peace.
Peace.